Chapter 23-22. Looking ahead, the woman in front of Yi Zichen smiled at him. The moment he saw her, Yi Zichen subconsciously opened his eyes wide. The person before him looked exactly like the white phoenix he had seen in the second world, and she was even calling him future. 100 Phoenix! White Phoenix grinned, then looked Yi Zichen up and down. Then, she clearly sensed a hint of disdain. That's right, it was disdain. Yi Zichen let out a long breath. He had already thought about meeting Bai Feng. As a venerable, she would definitely look down on him, who had just reached the star realm. But it wasn't to that extent, it's that obvious. That should be enough. Yi Zichen felt a bit annoyed at her disdain. Moreover, he had already told Bai Feng about this beforehand. There was no need to be like this, right? Why are you only in the star level? Bai Feng frowned and looked at Yi Zichen in confusion. I'm a star state. Yi Zichen put his hands on his waist and said confidently. Didn't I tell you everything? What are you doing? Are you trying to mock me? Is that so? White Phoenix was surprised. Yes. Yi Zichen just assumed that Bai Feng was teasing him on purpose. She was always like this in the second universe. Perhaps she was doing this on purpose. They wanted to see him suffer. When Yi Zichen saw Yi Zichen's look of confirmation, he nodded. Bai Feng could not help but hold her chin in her hands and hesitate for a long time. Her eyes were filled with struggle. Then, she silently shook her head again. Are you so hungry that you can't be choosy? Even a star-level warrior is interested in him. What are you mumbling about? Yi Zichen couldn't help but ask when he saw Bai Feng muttering to herself. Do you know why I'm here? Huh. Yi Zichen couldn't help but frown. What the hell is Bai Feng talking about? What was he doing here? You were the one who insisted on coming. How could I know what you were doing here? That's enough. Yi Zichen let out a long sigh, then looked at Bai Feng. By the way, why didn't you let me send you a message? You even told me so much at that time. You didn't say anything when I asked you before, but you can tell me now, right? Because I was targeted by a bad woman. Bai Feng looked quite cute and mischievous. She put her hands behind her back and lightly shrugged. A bad woman wants to bully me. I've been pestering her all this time. Is it done? Yi Zichen asked. TSK. You still care about me? Bai Feng narrowed her eyes and smiled. Of course it's been resolved. If it wasn't, I would have come here to find you. That's good. Yi Zichen couldn't help but sigh, his eyes filled with concern. Are you hurt? Is everything okay? For some reason, it was a simple greeting, but Bai Feng stared at Yi Zichen in disbelief for a long while, then blushed. After a long while, only then did she shrug her shoulders in disappointment. Don't worry, I'm fine. We're all fine. Ah. Yi Zichen froze, then looked at Bai Feng in confusion. Did you see the message I sent you? I saw it. Then what are you going to do? Now that the little phoenix was already at the cosmic system level, he needed to obtain the phoenix race's cultivation techniques and begin systematic cultivation. When Bai Feng hadn't replied, Yi Zichen had been rather anxious. Now that her true self was here. Just as Yi Zichen was waiting for Bai Feng's reply, Bai Feng suddenly leapt towards him and clung to him like a koala bear. Don't worry about that. I'm a bit tired. I want to rest. Let's go rest, okay? What the hell? Yi Zichen looked at Bai Feng, who was clinging to him. He tilted his head, his expression filled with confusion. What was this girl doing? If you're tired, then you're tired. You could have just said it, but why are you clinging to me? Also, was she acting spoiled just now? Stop messing around. How could Bai Feng be like this? Be careful. Suddenly, Rouge's message popped into Yi Zichen's mind. Then, he recalled Bai Feng's previous warning. Get off me first. Yi Zichen pushed Bai Feng off him. Bai Feng's eyes were filled with confusion. Yi Zichen narrowed his eyes and looked at her for a while. Ha ha, you've had a hard time getting here. Then rest for a bit. Oh yeah. Bai Feng frowned. You promised to give it to me. Did you bring it? Yi Zichen instinctively probed. We'll talk about it later. Bai Feng didn't pursue the topic. He looked very tired and yawned. Which room am I staying in? You can't stay here, Yi Zichen suddenly said. You're not Bai Feng, are you? Bai Feng, who was walking in front of him, suddenly stiffened. Then, she silently turned around. This time, she no longer had an innocent smile on her face. Her entire person was as sharp as a demon's blade. Her entire body radiated a terrifying evil aura. You're really sharp. All right, since that's the case, I won't keep up the act. I rather hate pretending to be her. Bai Feng sat down on the sofa and crossed her leg. Tell me, what's your relationship? Why do you know her? It's not that I don't like you, it's just that a star level like you doesn't deserve to know someone of Bai Feng's level. She's a sovereign, the leader of the Fire God clan of the Four Directions. I don't sense anything particularly noteworthy about you. Oh, but of course, I'm curious about how many elemental spirits you have. Yi Zichen's pupils contracted. How did she know? Even Bai Feng doesn't know that I have elemental spirits. Don't be afraid. I'm not interested in elemental spirits, not to mention your 5 elements elemental spirits. If I really have one, I'd rather have a time elemental spirit, Bai Feng shrugged. I can promise you that I won't take your elemental spirits. Don't worry. I really hope you're telling the truth, said Yi Zichen. Haha, so what if I'm lying? If I want it, do you think your elemental spirits will still belong to you? Bai Feng shrugged casually. Don't think about things that aren't realistic for you. You're right, Yi Zichen nodded. The woman in front of him was ridiculously strong. The elemental spirits in his body were all warning him of that fact. Then before that, can you answer a question for me? What is it? Bai Feng asked. What's your relationship with Bai Feng? Why do you look so similar to her? Me? I'm her older sister. Chapter 23:23. Older sister? Yi Zichen was stunned for a long while when the woman in front of him said that. She's Bai Feng's older sister? In terms of appearance, they really did look like twin sisters. Why, you're Bai Feng's older sister? I can't? Bai Feng's older sister shrugged, then smiled at Yi Zichen. I'm the real deal. What? Do you think I'm lying to you? Then no, the person in front of him did look exactly the same as Bai Feng. If the woman in front of him didn't cast an illusion on him, then there was a 90% chance that she was telling the truth. Since that's the case, then why did she pretend to be Bai Feng at the start? Since you're Bai Feng's older sister, then you can also call me Big Sister, or call me Venerable Spirit Phoenix, Bai Feng's older sister spoke up. I have to make one thing clear. Venerable Spirit Phoenix is my title, it's my little sister who uses it on the outside. This is very troublesome to explain. Venerable Spirit Phoenix pursed her lips and hesitated for a moment. In the end, she didn't explain much to Yi Zichen. She merely mentioned that it was troublesome, then stopped. Actually, Yi Zichen was rather curious. Bai Feng told him that she was Venerable Spirit Phoenix, and the older sister in front of him said that Venerable Spirit Phoenix's title was hers. These two sisters are really interesting. After knowing that Venerable Spirit Phoenix was Bai Feng's older sister, Yi Zichen no longer had his guard up against her. Actually, it wasn't easy for him to let his guard down, but this Venerable Spirit Phoenix, Yi Zichen couldn't feel any illusions. His perception towards illusions was still very sharp. What's more, none of his elemental spirits, including Bailey, felt any illusions. Then that meant the woman in front of him had always looked like that. Of course, it was also possible that she was so strong that Yi Zichen and his elemental spirits couldn't see through her disguise. If that was the case, then there was nothing they could do. But now, he could only use Venerable Spirit Phoenix's older sister to describe her. If it wasn't the same, Yi Zichen would die no matter what when facing a Venerable. Hey, Since you're Bai Feng's older sister, then why did you pretend to be Bai Feng at the start? Yi Zichen smiled. If you just said it, then I would definitely treat you well. I wanted to play with you, but I didn't expect you to be sharper than I thought. The venerable spirit phoenix crossed her arms, and her eyes flickered with the incoherent confidence of a superior. Soon, the venerable spirit phoenix tilted her head again, her expression filled with curiosity as she rested on the sofa with one hand supporting her chin. You have a good relationship with my sister. Don't be fooled by her lively appearance. In fact, she's quite a loner. In any case, he was a venerable and did not have any social interactions. I have less than 10 good friends in the entire universe, and I don't even contact them once in 1,000 years. You little star-level guy, how did you get to know her? Actually, I'm quite curious. The current venerable spirit phoenix, she'd already started treating Yi Zichen's castle as her bedroom. When Yi Zichen laid sideways on the sofa, the perfect curve reflected in front of his eyes was captivating. Yi Zichen glanced at him. He quickly retracted his gaze. He did not want to accidentally offend this venerable sister. It was just that he was surprised. He had thought that White Phoenix had a rather lively personality, but he didn't expect her to only have a few good friends. Then, when he thought about it, White Phoenix had never played with other people in the second universe. Interacting with other people, Yi Zichen only brought her along when he went to the path of the hero. Normally, she would be by herself. If Yi Zichen was online, she would come and find him. If he wasn't, then she would wander around by herself. She's truly a bit loner. We got to know each other in the Virtual World Corporation's Second World. Sis, do you know this game? I do. The venerable spirit phoenix nodded. Isn't it that second universe? I even went there, and it felt pretty good. It's good that you know. We got to know each other there. At the start, she hired me to help her fight a boss then. Yi Zichen didn't know why. It seemed like he couldn't hide anything in front of the venerable spirit phoenix. Thus, he couldn't help but blurt out everything that was on his mind. Among them was his direct contact with White Phoenix. Both of their experiences, Yi Zichen told the venerable spirit phoenix everything without hiding anything. From start to finish, the venerable spirit phoenix didn't say anything. She merely laid on the sofa and nodded as she looked into Yi Zichen's eyes. So that's how it is. The venerable spirit phoenix let out a sigh after Yi Zichen said that. When she heard that White Phoenix went to the second universe to find those 3 materials, the venerable spirit phoenix's hand subconsciously trembled. However, she acted very subtly, so Yi Zichen didn't notice. Do you want him to live that much? He doesn't deserve it. Really, maybe it's because of him that our situation has become so terrible. The venerable spirit phoenix squinted her eyes and sighed in her heart. She knew about the person that White Phoenix wanted to revive, but from her point of view, that guy wasn't worthy of White Phoenix doing this for her. He deserved to die. Are you going to blame her for being too kind? The venerable spirit phoenix shook her head silently, then looked towards Yi Zichen. No wonder. I feel happy for her that you two became good friends. She's rather lonely normally. Having you as a friend will make things easier for her. Sis, when is White Phoenix coming over? Yi Zichen asked with a frown. She won't be able to come in a short period of time. The venerable spirit phoenix replied after a moment of hesitation. What I told you just now wasn't a lie. She did get into some trouble. There's a bad woman bothering her. She can't get away for now, so she asked me to come and see you. I wanted to continue acting properly. Yi Zichen shook his head. Who knew that you could actually tell? The venerable spirit phoenix shook her head with a wry smile. Perhaps I really don't have the talent to be an actress. Lil Sis actually told me rather clearly, I just forgot. White Phoenix told you to act? Yi Zichen was shocked. Yeah, she was afraid that you would worry. The venerable spirit phoenix shrugged. She said that you would definitely think too much if she didn't arrive on time, so she told me to come and find you. For some reason, Yi Zichen felt that it was something that White Phoenix would say. All of a sudden, Yi Zichen's suspicions towards the venerable Spirit Phoenix lessened. Then, now that I know the situation, sis, do you want to go and help? Yi Zichen pursed his lips. White Phoenix isn't in a bad situation right now. Aren't you worried? Chapter 23-24. The twin sisters were in trouble in the universe. Yi Zichen felt that the Spirit Phoenix in front of him was way too calm. Yi Zichen looked silently at the Spirit Phoenix, who was lying on the sofa. She was also looking at him with a smile. The look in her eyes, there was more or less an ambiguous feeling to it. You care a lot about my little sister. It can't be that you, a little star-level fellow, has some sort of special thoughts towards my little sister, right? Although I don't dislike you. But I still have to remind you, the two of you are definitely not from the same world. The Spirit Phoenix muttered. When Yi Zichen saw her gaze, he felt that she was definitely thinking about something else. As expected, when she said these words, the only thing Yi Zichen wanted to do was to facepalm. I feel like the people in this universe are really weird. Whenever there was something, she would think about it in terms of romance. That was how Hua Jianro was back then. She would always say some weird things. Do they really not have any sense of the world here? Bai Feng was the Spirit Phoenix's little sister. If she was in danger in the universe, shouldn't they worry about her as a family member? And the same goes for friends. Big sis, you're really thinking too much, Yi Zichen shrugged wryly. Yi Zichen smiled wryly and shrugged. Bai Feng is a good friend of mine. It's only natural that I care about her. If any of my friends are in prison, I will worry about them. If I am capable enough, I will go and help them. This is what friends should do. Friends? Venerable Spirit Phoenix muttered to herself. It was as if she had never heard of the word friend before. That shouldn't be the case, right? No matter what, she is a sovereign, she can't have no friends. If I'm in danger, will you come and save me? Suddenly, the Spirit Phoenix asked a very strange question. If we are friends, then I won't refuse. Is that so? The Spirit Phoenix's gaze was rather strange. After a moment of hesitation, she nodded towards Yi Zichen with a serious look. I'll remember what you said. With that, she spoke without waiting for Yi Zichen's reaction. You don't have to worry about little sister's safety. No matter what, she is a sovereign. You should know that she is the leader of the fire god race of the Four Directions god races, the Undying Phoenix. Undying Phoenix? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. That's right. Her original body isn't human. In fact, the leaders of the four god clans aren't human. More than half of the human race's overlords and venerables aren't human, Venerable Spirit Phoenix answered. I've heard of this before. This was no secret in the virtual network of the human race. Anyone can check it. Among the human overlords and venerable ones, more than 60% of them were experts from other races, of course, recorded in the virtual network. Among them, the most representative were the Virtual World Corporation's Fox Emperor Wenli and the Universe Union Bank's Blue Emperor. Wenli was a member of the Fox clan. As for the number of tails, some people said it was 9 tails, while others said it was 10 tails. In short, it was unknown in the virtual network. Blue Emperor. Its true form was the Blue Thunder Tyrant Dragon. Most of the overlords and venerables of the two groups were non-human. Perhaps it was because of their clans that the non-human experts were more inclined towards the two groups. Therefore, the number of overlords and venerables of the two groups was the highest among the 8 magnate. Do you know anything about the Phoenix clan? Venerable Spirit Phoenix asked. I know a little. Back in the Milky Way galaxy, Yi Zichen had lived in the Phoenix race. They, too, had the ability to undergo nirvanic rebirth. However, there was a limit to this ability. They couldn't be reborn endlessly. Zhuge Kongming was from the Phoenix clan. Now that he had become the leader of the Phoenix clan, his strength was almost at the domain stage. You actually know? The Venerable Spirit Phoenix raised her eyebrows in surprise. In the entire universe, the number of phoenixes is very small. Most of the phoenixes that can be born are in the land of fire element. Moreover, after the phoenixes grow up, they will also go to the fire god clan of the 4 god clans. There are not many phoenixes in the entire universe. Most people knew very little about phoenixes. However, from Yi Zichen's expression, the spirit phoenix could tell that he understood the phoenix race very well. At the very least, he didn't seem too surprised when he heard about the undying phoenix. She subconsciously looked down at his arm. "You're right." Venerable Spirit Phoenix pursed her lips and smiled. "In any case, you're someone who possesses a fire elemental spirit, so it's normal for you to have some understanding of the Phoenix clan. In that case, it's easy to explain to you that she's an undying phoenix. Even if she encounters danger, she can undergo nirvanic rebirth, so there's no need for you to worry about her. Let me put it this way. If she goes to the outside, she won't be in any danger at all. Even the outside's overlord-level experts are terrified of her." "That's good." Yi Zichen relaxed and nodded. "Big sis, according to what you're saying, not all phoenixes can undergo nirvanic rebirth, right?" "Of course," said the Venerable. "If all phoenixes can undergo nirvanic rebirth, then they'll have no natural enemies. The universe is about balance. It won't allow any race to have the possibility of eternal life. Only undying phoenixes can undergo nirvanic rebirth. Other phoenixes are naturally compatible with fire." "So that's how it is. Why do you ask? Do you know any other phoenixes with undying characteristics?" "No." Yi Zichen smiled and shook his head. There was no way he would mention anything about the Milky Way galaxy to anyone. "Since we're on this topic, I suddenly thought of something else. It's about the Phoenix clan. Do you want to know?" asked the Venerable. "Of course." Rumor has it that there used to be a race of undying phoenixes in the universe. Their entire race was made up of undying phoenixes. At the time, the undying phoenixes, along with the primordial gods, the 5-clawed golden dragons, the 9-tailed celestial foxes, the black tortoises, the flying white tigers, and the Chilants, were known as the 7 great god clans. "The 7 great god clans." "That's right," said the Venerable. "It's just a pity that the humans destroyed all of them in the end. Among them, the humanoid race was the most miserable. Even now, they could not allow the humanoid race to reappear. To the humans, the humanoid race was definitely above them. They could not allow the humanoid race to reappear. Most laughable of all, the only reason humans are still alive is because of the protection of the human gods. Without the human gods, humanity would have long since been devoured by other races. The universe actually has this sort of history." Yi Zichen was astonished. "The history of the universe is far more interesting than you can imagine. You're too weak right now, but once you become a supreme, you'll naturally come into contact with it," replied the Venerable. "Right, in the future, if you run into a human god, you can report it to the higher-up. You'll receive enough resources to last you until you reach the titled level." "Titled level?" Yi Zichen couldn't help but gulp. "How are you sure they're human gods?" "It's simple. The blood of the 7 great god clans are all golden. If it's golden blood, then it means they're of the god clan. Humans are human gods." Chapter 23-25. Golden Blood. Yi Zichen, who was standing in the room, subconsciously grabbed his arm. The gods, the Protoss of the Milky Way galaxy, were the Protoss of the universe. There was also the immortal Phoenix, 5-clawed golden dragon, Chilan, black tortoise, flying white tiger. These all exist in the Milky Way galaxy. What was going on? In the Milky Way, the 7 god clans actually existed in the universe. Does golden blood mean he's a god? Yi Zichen still held onto a sliver of hope. If all of this was true, then the Milky Way galaxy wouldn't just be facing slaves in the future, but also the encirclement of human experts. This was not a problem on the same level. The slaves might run into universe-level beings. Until then, Yi Zichen would be able to defend himself against universe-level threats, as long as he had a certain level of self-protection. But if the existence of the Protoss was exposed, then, it was very likely that even the Venerables and the Overlords would come out to encircle and annihilate them. Even if they held no grudges against the Protoss, they would still attack the Milky Way for the sake of resources that would allow them to become titled battle pet warriors. He hoped that Venerable Spirit Phoenix would have some leeway. Even if there was a slight possibility. That's right. Unfortunately, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix's answer was so firm that it made people despair. In any race, only the God race has golden blood. It's impossible for the other races that aren't God race to have golden blood. Therefore, if the God clan wants to confirm it, it is very simple. Golden blood is enough. I see. Yi Zichen let out a deep sigh. He wanted to appear calmer, but his hands couldn't help but tremble. That's right, his heart was filled with fear. Not to mention anything else. Most of the people around him had the bloodline of the God race. He had no way of imagining what would happen if the Milky Way was discovered to have a Protoss. Why do you look so scared? Venerable Spirit Phoenix narrowed her eyes. Ha ha ha, I'm not afraid. I'm just a little excited. Yi Zichen purposely grinned casually. Since I can confirm that he's a god just by looking at his golden blood, then I definitely have to pay attention in the future. If I really do run into him, then I'll be able to become a titled. You can say that. Supremacy Spirit Phoenix nodded. Although that was her answer, she could clearly see that Yi Zichen hadn't trembled in excitement at all. He'd trembled in fear. It was the fear in his heart that made him lose control of his emotions. All of a sudden, the Spirit Phoenix, who was lying on the sofa, clasped two fingers together and waved them forward. In an instant, Yi Zichen's arm was torn open. Fresh blood gushed out. It flowed down Yi Zichen's arm. Red. Yi Zichen felt the pain, so he subconsciously held his arm. He frowned as he looked at Sovereign Spirit Phoenix, who was on the sofa. Big sister, what are you doing? Haha, I saw that you were a little absent-minded just now, so I let you recover your spirit. Venerable Spirit Phoenix laughed heartily and stood up from the sofa. Her tender hand covered Yi Zichen's cut arm, and strands of pure cosmic energy flowed from her palm into his arm. Then, with the help of the cosmic energy, the wound was completely healed in less than half a minute. I hate it when people are absent-minded in front of me. Consider it a small punishment for you. Her hand left Yi Zichen's arm, then she squinted her eyes and stared into Yi Zichen's eyes, then placed her hand on his chest. Are you nervous? How can I not be nervous? Yi Zichen pushed Venerable Spirit Phoenix's hand away. Big sister, I value my life a lot. Don't mess around, okay? I thought you were going to kill me just now. I was scared to death. Is that so? Venerable Spirit Phoenix nodded with a giggle, then squinted her eyes with a smile. Alright, it was my fault just now. I'll apologize to you right here. Of course, don't push your luck. If it was any other star level, I wouldn't have apologized to them. How would I dare? Yi Zichen smiled wryly. It's all about strength. Strength is everything. If I'm not mistaken, Venerable Spirit Phoenix should have sensed the change in my emotions, which is why she attacked me to see the color of my blood. Fortunately, Yi Zichen's blood was no different from a normal human's when he didn't use his divinity. If Venerable Spirit Phoenix found out, would she kill me? Yi Zichen felt like Venerable Spirit Phoenix was a ticking time bomb. Her existence made him unable to feel at ease. Compared to Venerable Spirit Phoenix, Yi Zichen definitely trusted White Phoenix more. Whether it was their relationship, or White Phoenix's true form, her true form was that of an undying phoenix. I belonged to one of the 7 god races. They were essentially the same. He could ask 100 Phoenix more questions about the celestial race. How can I send Venerable Spirit Phoenix away? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes as his mind raced with various thoughts. At that moment, Venerable Spirit Phoenix was already suspicious of him. There was no way Yi Zichen would let her stay forever. Big sis, how long are you planning on staying on Blue River Planet? Yi Zichen asked tentatively. Venerable Spirit Phoenix frowned. Me? That's not for sure. I rather like this life planet. Perhaps I'll stay here forever. You'll stay here? Yi Zichen was shocked. Aren't great seniors like you already stationed in the outside? If you stay on Blue River Planet, you won't have to worry about the outside? You know quite a bit. Did White Phoenix tell you? Yi Zichen smiled, but didn't deny it. Venerable Spirit Phoenix shrugged, then stretched lazily. I'm too lazy to guard that place. Whoever wants to can go. I've stayed there for tens of thousands of years. Can't I come back and rest for a bit? You brat. Why are you always asking me about this? Am I not welcome to stay here? Don't worry, even if I wanted to, I wouldn't stay here. Big sis, what are you saying? Yi Zichen smiled wryly. I'm just asking. If you want to stay, then stay. I still have a lot of rooms here. If I have a great expert like you here, no matter if I have any questions in the future, or if our safety is guaranteed, I can't be more than happy. I'm not interested in teaching people, Venerable Spirit Phoenix shrugged. That's fine. In any case, I have no intention of chasing you away, Yi Zichen laughed. You can stay here for as long as you want. I won't object. Of course, I know that my small castle won't catch your eye. If you need a bigger castle, I can introduce some people to you. Also, I'll visit you often in the future. Alright, then it's settled. I'll stay here. Chapter 23-26. Gee, was this necessary? He was just being polite. Yi Zichen stared straight at the Spirit Phoenix in front of him, while the Spirit Phoenix tilted her head and looked at him. Which room should I stay in? Venerable One, are you really going to stay here? Yi Zichen couldn't help but ask. Isn't it a bit too unfair for a sovereign to stay in a small place like mine? Fortunately, I lived in an even worse place in the outer realms. Venerable Spirit Phoenix stretched lazily and patted the sofa beneath her. I'm quite satisfied living here. Moreover, since you're asking me to stay, how can I refuse your good intentions? How could you tell that I was trying to keep her? Venerable sister. You're thinking too much. Yi Zichen couldn't help but let out a long sigh. However, Venerable Spirit Phoenix had already stood up from the sofa and walked towards the second floor. I'll stay in the innermost room. That room is empty. I saw it. Before Yi Zichen could reply, the Spirit Phoenix already went up to the second floor. When she entered the room, she even tilted her head towards Yi Zichen with a smile. I won't pay the rent. Plop, for some reason, Yi Zichen's heart trembled. Her face was also a little red. What's going on? It actually felt a little cute. Yi Zichen couldn't help but be stunned when he thought of the Spirit Phoenix sticking out her tongue. Then, he quickly patted his head. What the hell was he thinking? This was the truth of whether it was cute or not. This big sister staying here was definitely going to be a problem. 100 phoenixes. When can you come? Hurry up and take your sister away. In the following 2 days, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix was really living here with peace of mind, and judging from her expression, it seemed that she seemed to be very satisfied with this place. He had no intention of leaving at all. Sir, this is the juice you wanted. The waiter of Planet Shell brought a glass of green juice for Venerable Spirit Phoenix. She lay on the sofa in the living room and watched the programs in the universe. Thank you. In some ways, Venerable Spirit Phoenix was very amiable and approachable. No matter who she was dealing with, she did not put on the airs of a venerable one. She would also thank the waiters who prepared the juice and fruit platters for her. Unfortunately, Yi Zichen, on the other hand, felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. These programs are really bad. She held the juice, then laid sideways on the sofa, taking up the entire sofa, while Yi Zichen could only sit in the corner. His nerves were taut. He was afraid of bumping into this big sister. Why are you so restrained? Isn't this your home? Relax. Seeing Yi Zichen's tense emotions, The spirit phoenix tried to comfort him gently. Oh yeah, are there only these few people in your place? There are others, is that so? I thought you purposely kept some girls from the Shell Star as your mistress. I was still considering whether I should move out and whether it would affect your mood. The venerable spirit phoenix chuckled. Looks like I've been worrying too much. Why haven't I seen them yet? I really want to meet your friends. Elder sister, you don't have to worry too much. Hurry up and leave. Yizichin couldn't help but roar in his heart. In the 2 days that the venerable spirit phoenix was around, he felt like he was about to collapse. As long as he went out, the venerable spirit phoenix would definitely follow. She stayed by his side to guard him while he cultivated. Even if it was just to go to the bathroom. If he didn't finish after 2 minutes, she would knock on the door to ask what he was doing inside. Using the venerable spirit phoenix's words, she didn't have the money to pay for the house, so she could only do this to protect him. Bai Feng also warned him again and again. I can't let anything happen to Yizichin. To be honest, Yizichin felt like it was the venerable spirit phoenix's own idea. She didn't mention anything about White Phoenix telling him all this when she just arrived. Right now, he was a criminal without any human rights. They all left. This place used to be rather lively, Yizichin shrugged. The venerable spirit phoenix nodded. Then what are we doing later? Are we going to go shopping? Big sister, you're a venerable. Go and do whatever you want. Why do you have to follow me? Yizichin wanted to cry. He felt like he truly had 2 Siamese twins. Why aren't you saying anything? Do you not like me? The venerable spirit phoenix suddenly acted like she was very depressed. She sat up from the sofa and looked at Yizichin with a pitiful look. Weak, pitiful, helpless. Words that were impossible for venerables appeared vividly in the venerable spirit phoenix's mouth. Big sis, the venerable spirit phoenix pouted. Seeing that, Yizichin couldn't help but sigh. Then let's go shopping. Okay. The venerable spirit phoenix, who was sitting on the sofa, cheered excitedly. It was as if she was a completely different person from the venerable spirit phoenix that Yizichin first met. It can't be multiple personality disorder, right? Yizichin let out a deep sigh. Yizichin prepared to leave the castle. The guards wanted to follow him, but when he thought about it, since there was a venerable beside him, and they wouldn't be of much use, he had them stay in the castle. Blue River Planet. It was actually a rather low-level planet in the entire universe. It did not have any particularly advanced technology, nor did it have any supreme experts. However, there were still a lot of humans gathered there. The main reason was because it was peaceful. There weren't too many conflicts. It was countless galaxies away from the outer realm, and was one of the safest planets for humans. The planet belonged to the Virtual World Corporation, so there was no need to worry about attacks from other galaxies. The venerable spirit phoenix who walked outside, she was as lively as a fake venerable. She was filled with curiosity towards everything, and loved those small and cute objects. In less than 2 hours, Yizichin followed the venerable spirit phoenix and bought over 100 small toys, which she put into her own spatial artifact. Wow, what is this? The venerable spirit phoenix noticed the little fellow that moved her heart once again, and ran out in surprise. Yizichin followed behind her. Ding! A message came from the virtual network. The message came from Ball. Yizi! What? Yizichin frowned when he saw the exclamation marks. Where did you go? You couldn't have kidnapped our Bae-in back to your family, right? Hey, don't say that. Is your good bro Suyun in Blue River Planet right now? Ball sent the message very quickly. No, I haven't seen him for several days. Then it's true, Ball replied. I saw him in Green River Planet. He seemed to have gotten into an argument with a few people. Notify your family. I think he's going to die if they come late. Argument? Help me stabilize it. I can only say that I'll try my best, Ball replied. Those people are all warrior level. My people won't be able to hold on for too long. Hurry over. Chapter 23-27. How did this happen? Yizichin frowned and looked at the message Ball sent him. Even though the past few days Suyun wasn't in the castle, Yizichin didn't have much to worry about. No matter what, he was an adult. After experiencing so much in the Milky Way, Yizichin believed that Suyun would know what to do. I didn't expect him to not return these past few days. He actually went to Green River Planet. Why did he go there for no reason? Alright, I'll go as soon as possible. After replying to Ball, Yizichin hurried in front of the Spirit Phoenix. Do you think this bunny looks good? At that moment, the Spirit Phoenix held a bunny plushie in her hand. It was roughly the size of a palm. It was very cute. Lady, you truly have good eyes. This kind of bunny plushie is what we sell the most. It's very popular among you young ladies. The owner of the stall was an elder with white sideburns. He was around the 3rd level of domain and had the status of a universe citizen. However, from the looks of it, the domain level was his limit. Lad, buy one for your girlfriend. The owner of the stall thought that the two of them were a couple when he saw the way the Spirit Phoenix treated Yizichin. Yizichin, who was rather anxious, was so shocked that his face darkened when he heard the owner's words. On the other hand, the Spirit Phoenix acted as if she didn't hear anything. Her eyes were filled with love as she held the bunny plushie. I want it. Okay. Yizichin took out an Amazon coin. 1 Amazon coin was definitely enough for this sort of plushie. Yizichin pursed his lips before the owner gave him change. What is it? She noticed that something was wrong with Yizichin's expression, so she asked, What's wrong? I have to go to Green River Planet, so I can't shop with you anymore. What are you going there for? My friend is in some trouble. I have to go and deal with it. Actually, Yizichin did have the thought of inviting the Spirit Phoenix along at the start. There was a sovereign-level expert there. Naturally, Green River Planet's trouble wasn't really trouble. However, when he thought about it, the relationship between him and the Spirit Phoenix wasn't that close. It wouldn't make sense for him to order a sovereign around for such a small matter. What's more now, he had the hollow ore set. Even if he faced a universe warlord-level expert, it wasn't that he wouldn't be able to put up a fight. Trouble? How are you going there? The Spirit Phoenix frowned, while Yizichin pursed his lips. Of course we'll take the planet's cosmic flight. Take the flight. By the time you arrive, your friend will already be dead. Venerable Spirit Phoenix shrugged. You seem to have forgotten about the most important issue of time. Regardless of whether you fly a spacecraft or a plane, it will take at least 10 hours to reach the Azure River Planet. That's right. Yizichin thought for a while, then nodded. He naturally knew this, but if he didn't do this now, would he be able to teleport directly to the Azure River Star? Haven't you considered other methods? Venerable Spirit Phoenix asked. What way? There were only 2 ways to travel to another planet. One was to take a space flight, and the other was to pilot a spaceship. As for the rest, for example me. Venerable Spirit Phoenix narrowed her eyes as she held the little rabbit in her hand. I'll be so kind as to take you there as a gift in return for buying this little rabbit for me. Stand still. Before Yizichin could react, he felt someone grab his shoulder. When he came back to his senses, he was already in the universe outside the planet. Everyone on the streets of the Blue River Star stared at where they left. Just what did I say just now? The stall owner couldn't help but gulp with lingering fear. He was only at the 3rd level of domain, so he couldn't tell how strong the person was. From Venerable Spirit Phoenix's appearance, he subconsciously thought that she was also at the domain level, or at most a star level. Who would have thought? Spatial teleportation. If he didn't remember wrongly, this seemed to be a technique that only experts above the sovereign level could use. Sovereign! There's actually a sovereign in the Blue River Star. Just moments ago, Yizichin bought a doll from his stall, and he even called her little lady Sovereign Z's. These 2 planets are rather far. Venerable Spirit Phoenix squinted her eyes as she stood in the cosmic void, then locked onto a green planet with life in the distance. Let's go. With that, Yi Zichen still didn't have any time to respond. Yi Zichen felt his shoulder being grabbed once again, and when he came back to his senses, hustle and bustle, Yi Zichen had already arrived on a planet with life. Their arrival was very sudden, so the people on the surrounding streets didn't notice how they arrived. This is Green River Star? Yi Zichen looked around and the green sky. It seems like it, Venerable Spirit Phoenix nodded. It didn't even seem to be 3 minutes from start to finish. We're already here? Isn't a sovereign-level expert way too fast? Who knows how many times faster than spaceships and flights? Don't think too much. Suddenly, Venerable Spirit Phoenix spoke up as if she saw through Yi Zichen's thoughts. I used spatial teleportation just now. A technique that only sovereigns can use. It's fine for short distances, but this kind of technique consumes a lot of stamina and energy. If the distance is too long, then even sovereigns and lords won't be able to last too long. What's more, if you use spatial teleportation and get ambushed by the enemy, then it will be very hard for you to face them in peak condition. Spatial teleportation also places a huge burden on the body. Unless it's an emergency, very few sovereigns and above would do it. I only dared to do it because I saw that you were in a hurry, and there aren't many experts in this galaxy. Thank you. Yi Zichen thanked Venerable Spirit Phoenix sincerely. He could already feel the drawbacks of spatial teleportation from Venerable Spirit Phoenix's words, but she still did it. I owe Venerable Spirit Phoenix a favor. Venerable Spirit Phoenix was stunned for a moment. She looked blankly at Yi Zichen's sincere face, then couldn't help but blush. Then, she quickly calmed herself down and snorted coldly. I haven't fallen to the point where I need a junior like you to thank me. I already said it, just treat it as a gift in return for buying me the bunny. Don't think too much. If it wasn't for the bunny, I wouldn't even bother helping you. Then I'll thank the bunny, Yi Zichen smiled. Yi Zichen didn't expect Venerable Spirit Phoenix to actually be a bit prideful. With that, Yi Zichen logged into the virtual network. I'm at Green River Star. Exact location. F*CK so fast. Bar instantly replied. You were at Green River Star before? Don't say so much, tell me the coordinates. Chapter 23-28. I wonder what grievances you have with this young friend? A warlord level bullying a junior, there's no need to. In what way did this junior offend you? I can apologize on his behalf. In front of a house on Azure River Planet. This was a rural location in the Azure River Star. Unlike the rows upon rows of buildings in the city, there was a vast expanse of land here. Those who lived here were not at the domain realm, nor were they from the human race or the beastmen race who could not obtain universal citizenship. Yet, in this kind of rural place, a warlord level and a universe level warrior had suddenly appeared. This caused the entire village to panic. Who are you? Coming here to meddle in other people's business. Cheetah squinted his eyes. He was short, but this wasn't a reason for others to ignore him. Warlord level 7. This level of power was enough for him to be taken seriously. I'm from the Steel family. The old man smiled warmly, looking at Cheetah in front of him. In an instant Cheetah frowned. Steel family. There was no way he hadn't heard of this family. Their position in the universe wasn't low. Their energy and slave businesses were huge. They could be considered a second-tier family in the entire universe. Whether it was their influence or their overall strength, they deserved the respect of the human race. This old man was actually from the Steel family. If it wasn't for the Steel family, Cheetah would have instantly suppressed him and killed him. Now that the Steel family was involved, he had no way to act without hesitation. It's actually someone from the Steel family. Even though the name Steel family was scary, the shorty was at least a warlord level. In front of the old man, he was a senior. There was no need for him to be careful just because of the Steele family's name. What's more, the Steele family was huge. If he wasn't a direct descendant, he didn't have to worry too much. What are you doing here, meddling in other people's business? You must be joking. Our Steele family has never thought of meddling in other people's business. It's just that this youth has some connections with our family. I'm forced to. The old man smiled, placing his palm on Soo-yoon's shoulder. I wonder if you can give our Steele family face and let this youth go. Junior. Suddenly, the shorty's face sunk. Don't you think your Steele family has too much face? I don't know what you mean. The Steele clan is a large clan. I've given your clan some face and haven't made a move against you. Junior, you still want to take him away. The title of your Steele family is very frightening, but that doesn't mean that everyone is afraid of you. Shorty Chi-ta squinted his eyes. In the entire universe, your family is at most a second-rate family. There are too many families that you cannot afford to offend. You're right. The elder nodded. Of course, he would not be so arrogant as to think that the Steele family had absolute deterrence in the entire universe. Even the Virtual World Corporation would not be able to do such a thing, let alone them who were attached to the Virtual World Corporation. But this person was specifically protected by the young master. Moreover, this young man seemed to have a very close relationship with that young master. Since that's the case, hurry up and scram. In an instant, the tower's momentum increased. The turbulent energy of the universe gathered around him. Under his pressure, the ground around the village started to crack, and the houses started to collapse. Many of the villagers ran into the distance. The elder furrowed his brows and adjusted the surrounding energy of the universe, wrapping himself and Soo-yoon within it. Warlord rank. As expected of a warlord rank. Under the pressure of a warlord rank, the elder's eyes began to show signs of strain. Senior, don't worry about me. Sensing the change in the elder's expression, Soo-yoon spoke up. You're the person the young master wants to protect. Even if you die a horrible death, how could this old man abandon you? The elder laughed, then squinted at Chi-ta. By acting like this, you've destroyed their homes. They're just ants, not even cosmic citizens. I'm already being merciful by not killing them. Chi-ta roared angrily. Why must you do this, sir? The elder frowned. This young man is very important to our Steele clan. Perhaps you're from an even greater clan, but if you don't give him to our Steele clan, don't talk about this with me. Either scram or die. Chi-ta did not give him any leeway. The elder took a deep breath, and a round disc suddenly appeared in his hand. Behind him, a mirror-like afterimage appeared. Tool spirit. What a joke. Seeing this, Chi-ta's eyes were filled with disdain. Immediately, his feet stepped on the ground, and an afterimage appeared behind him. Compared to the elder's afterimage, his was more solid. Behind him, it was a dwarf wielding a hammer. At the same time, a hammer appeared in his right hand. Don't ask for trouble. You should be very clear in your heart that you have no chance of winning against me. Giving face to the Steele clan, I'll let you go. If you're stubborn, don't blame me for being merciless. Also, you can record through the virtual network, hand it to your clan. I don't care, understand? Chi-ta's eyes were filled with coldness, just a little bit more. At the start, they were quite surprised. This Soo-yoon didn't even wait for them to set up the trap before he came. Who would have thought that this kid was very cunning? Not only did they not catch him, Taimo was even injured by this kid. That's right. Taimo, a 7th-grade warrior, was injured by Soo-yoon. Up until now, Taimo still had not recovered and was being cared for by Black Tiger. Naturally, the task of capturing Soo-yoon fell to him. He swore that he would capture him. But suddenly, the Steele clan appeared. Sir, don't be stubborn. Do you know this youth's background? What background? Isn't it just your Steele clan? Sir, you may have misunderstood. Although our Steele clan is on good terms with him, he's not a member of our clan. He has an even more powerful background. Even our Steel clan has to be careful. Bullshit. Cheetah spat. Does he really think I didn't investigate him? What background? If he has a background, then let him come. Does he really think I've been scared all these years? I'm not afraid. Even if he has a sovereign behind him, he must come with me today. Also, don't waste my time here. Scram or die. Choose. Chapter 23-29. My God! How did it suddenly turn out like this? In the distance of Green River Planet, Black Tiger patted his bald head, his eyes filled with regret. He looked at the location. It was where Shorty Cheetah and Suiyun were. Where did this universe level come from? Can you not be a busybody? Hurry up and leave. You're only a universe level. Why are you going against a warlord? Hiding in the distance, Black Tiger wanted to cry but had no tears. He couldn't help but pray in his heart for the old man to leave. He had already made a meticulous plan, just waiting to reel in the net. Such an old man had appeared out of nowhere. Don't blame Black Tiger for not respecting the old man. Right now in his heart, the old man had already risen to the level of an undying old man. I've had enough. Black Tiger waited here for close to 10 minutes. That old man had no intention of leaving at all. Even though Cheetah was prepared to make a move, that old man, who was only a universe level, actually didn't leave, looking like he wanted to fight Cheetah. Crazy. He was definitely crazy. The difference between a universe level and a universe warlord wasn't just a little bit. What's more, Cheetah wasn't just a newbie warlord, he was a level 7 warlord. That old man was only a universe level 5. What could he use to fight Cheetah? He's really looking to die. Black Tiger muttered, his gaze still staring straight ahead, hoping that the old man would be tactful. In the end, how troublesome. With that, Black Tiger squinted his eyes and sent out a message. The situation has changed, requesting to cancel this mission. After sending the message, Black Tiger silently looked at Suiyun and shook his head, sighing in his heart. It clearly has nothing to do with you. Why did you come to die? Isn't it better to live? One had to know that to be able to reach the universe level was already considered a small accomplishment in the universe. If one didn't have too much ambition, with a universe level strength, one could easily find a small life planet and live out their lives peacefully. To be able to reach such a level, this was already very rare and precious. To reach the universe level, not only did one need talent and hard work, it also proved that one had some luck. Yet, he didn't properly protect what he had now. Sighing in his heart, Black Tiger couldn't bear to watch any longer. The result could not be reversed at all. Cheetah was originally a dwarf, and his martial soul was that of an elder of the dwarf race's heroic soul palace. This kind of martial soul was ridiculously powerful for a dwarf like him. If he was serious, he would even be able to put up a fight against a general. Black Tiger's exclamation was not groundless. Standing in the middle of the whirlpool, the old man really felt a surging sense of oppression when he faced the pressure of the tower. He was definitely no match for the general in front of him. If the two of them were to fight, it was very likely that he would be killed in an instant. Even if he used all his trump cards in a situation of absolute strength, he had no chance of winning. He was never a genius. If he was a genius, he wouldn't still be at the universe level in his current state. If he didn't have the strength to challenge those of a higher level, he, facing Tower, who possessed the dwarf elder martial soul of the dwarf heroic soul palace. What he was doing now, this was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. When I tell you to run later, do your best to leave this place. The old man took a deep breath and spoke to Suiyun. He no longer hoped for the two of them to escape unscathed. All he could do was try his best to complete the mission his young master gave him. To ensure Suiyun's safety. Senior, then you, from the old man's eyes, Suiyun could already see his final struggle. Senior, this all started because of me. I think it's better for you to leave, at most I'll just leave with him. I'm also a universe citizen. He can't possibly kill me. Kid, you're thinking too simply, or perhaps I should say that you think the universe citizen laws are too absolute. The old man patted him on the shoulder and smiled. If the universe citizenship law's restrictions were really that strong, then would the human race still have people dying? The citizenship law is actually written for the weak. The weak use it to seek the slightest possibility of survival. The weak also abide by these rules. But in front of the strong, this citizenship law is not as practical as a universe coin. It was just a short sentence like that, however, it was a painful description of the bloody situation in the universe. Strength. That was the strongest proof of survival in the universe. As for the universe citizen laws, just like the old man said, if the strong wanted to abide by them, then they would. If they didn't, so what if they didn't abide by them? A warlord killing a domain level, who would think that the warlord violated the universe citizen laws? What they thought was, it must be that reckless domain level, using the existence of the citizenship law to disrespect senior battle general. In other words, a warlord, considering the existence of the citizen laws, wouldn't act within the universe planets, but what about outside the universe? Or perhaps, if he didn't kill you, he would cripple you for life and destroy your realm. What would you say? There were loopholes in the law. To think that one would be absolutely safe just because of the laws, that didn't exist. The benefits of the laws were for the strong. The rules of the laws were for the weak to abide by. Looks like you don't want to leave? Cheetah squinted his eyes, looking at the old man in front of him. He couldn't be bothered to say any more nonsense. The large hammer in his hand instantly smashed down. Run! The old man roared. The disc in his hand instantly flew out, colliding with the large hammer. In that instant, in that short instant, maybe not even a second, the old man's disc weapon instantly shattered. A mouthful of fresh blood spat out of the old man's mouth. His entire being became dispirited. Mantis trying to stop a chariot. The huge hammer didn't stop at all. This hammer of his would definitely take the old man's life. Is it over? The old man knelt on the ground, his face full of bitterness. He had thought that he would be instantly killed, but when it happened, it was still hard to accept. He had spent his entire life. He couldn't even take half a step forward in the universe level 4. He was already old. If it wasn't for his great fortune, then he would have remained like this for the rest of his life. Su-Yun was still young. His future still had limitless possibilities. Who knew how far they had run in that instant, as long as he could meet up with the young master? Long River. In the sky, a long river that was tens of li long suddenly appeared. Su-Yun, who had already run, turned back. At the same time, Ball suddenly appeared in front of the old man. This little fatty, both his legs were trembling, but he still held a broadsword in his hands, gritting his teeth as he stood in front of the old man. Cheetah, who saw this, only found it funny. 2 domain level punks. Die. Chapter 2330. Pagoda had already discovered Ba-Er's position. From the start, this domain realm kid had been paying attention to them. Against a domain realm, he wasn't interested, so he didn't bother. If Ba-Er hadn't come, he would have been willing to pretend he never saw this kid. Who would have thought that this puny domain realm would dare to stand in front of him? Pagoda swung his hammer down. He didn't care about Su-Yun's river of sticks at all. It was just a domain realm artifact. With his warrior-level strength, he could break it in an instant. Boom, impossible. Far away, Black Tiger was shocked. Pagoda wasn't the only one who thought that way. In fact, he didn't think that Su-Yun's artifact could do anything to Pagoda. Little did he know, not only did Su-Yun's river of sticks not shatter, it even blocked Pagoda. About 3 seconds later, the river of sticks shattered. Su-Yun fell to the ground and vomited blood. But no one could underestimate that river of stick. One had to know. This river of Styx could stop Pagoda of the dwarf clan for 3 seconds with the dwarf elder martial soul activated. Even that elder didn't even last a second. More importantly, Su-Yun was only a domain realm. It was impossible for a domain realm to resist a warlord for 3 seconds. Plus, it was only 3 seconds. Pagoda couldn't continue attacking and could only stop. Of course, it wasn't that he couldn't force his way through, but it would take a toll on him. He didn't want to be injured while facing a domain realm family. He was afraid of his enemies if he told them about this, even though Taimo was injured by Su-Yun. Interesting. The Pagoda, who'd been knocked back by the river Styx, grinned at Su-Yun, his eyes filled with greed. This greed was for the river of Styx. A domain realm could resist a warlord for 3 seconds. From this, it could be seen that this river of Styx's grade was not low. It was at least a marquee artifact. Marquee artifact. Only marquee experts could have it. Those who weren't so lucky might not even get it. If he could get that river of Styx, he wouldn't even be afraid of a commander-level artifact. Su-Yun. Bauer hurriedly ran towards Su-Yun with his broadsword. Then, he looked at the elder with worry. Kid. Chi-Ta raised his warhammer and looked at Su-Yun, who was coughing up blood. Give me your river, and I'll let you go. The moment he saw the Styx, the mission given by his young master was no longer important. He was a warlord. It wasn't like he had been nurtured by his family since he was young. What was the point of bowing down to a stellar level? It was all for the sake of obtaining some benefits. Now that he saw a treasure that was at least of the marquee level, why would he need to risk his life for that arrogant guy? Dream on. With one hand on the ground, Su-Yun raised his head and gritted his teeth. Kid, I don't know where you learned to be so stubborn, but I have to tell you that in this universe, stubborn people won't survive. Chi-Ta narrowed his eyes. In this universe, with your strength, there are many who can crush you to death. How about this? Chi-Ta hesitated for a while. Sell me that river of yours, I can pay for it. How about 300,000 universe dollars? That's a lot for a domain level like you. This kind of treasure, most of them were stored in one's body. In order to obtain it, the owner had to either give it up or kill the owner. To Chi-Ta, killing a domain level was easy. Even he was worried that if he forcefully killed Su-Yun, Su-Yun might activate the treasure and self-destruct before he died. Chi-Ta would collapse. Marquee-level treasure. This kind of treasure was already rare. If one wanted to buy it, they would have to compete in auctions. It wasn't an exaggeration to say. Even the worst marquee-level treasure would cost over 1,000 chaos coins, which was 100 billion universe dollars. Chi-Ta's net worth, even 10,000 chaos coins couldn't buy it. You humans have a saying, an ordinary man is innocent, but treasuring a jade ring becomes a crime. With your strength, you can't have this kind of treasure. I'll give you 500,000. 500,000 is enough for you to buy a suitable treasure for your current use. Chi-Ta extended 5 fingers. Don't even think about it. I'll have to die to get the Styx. Su-Yun gritted his teeth. Chi-Ta grinned and nodded. Styx, what's the name of your treasure? I like it. Since you want to die so much, then die. In an instant, Chi-Ta didn't waste any more words. He raised his warhammer and attacked again. It was clear that he was a very decisive person. He wasn't in the mood to say useless things. You dare. Suddenly, Bear gripped his broadsword and shouted angrily. Do you know who he is? He's an honored guest of the Steel family. Do you know who I am? I'm Steel Bear, the son of the Steel family patriarch. If you dare touch them, the Steel family. Scram. Without waiting for Bar to finish his sentence, he kicked him out of the tower. The Steel family. He didn't care about the bullshit Steel family. As long as he could get the Styx, he would even dare to kill someone from the Virtual World Corporation. You know he's a member of the Steel family, yet you still dare to attack? It seems you don't like the Steel family. Very well. But he said he's the patriarch's son. Don't you know he has an older brother, Steel Bear? Just as Bear was sent flying, he felt himself being hugged by a pair of arms. Cheetah, who was wielding his warhammer, heard a whisper that sounded like a nightmare. In an instant, Cheetah's entire body froze. His warhammer didn't fall. His eyes were fixed on Bear's position. Behind Bear, there was already an additional youth with a grave and stern expression. Steel Bear, a genius that only appeared once in 10,000 years in the universe, the successor of the Steel family patriarch. It was rumored that his existence would allow the Steel family to break free from being a second-rate family and successfully leap into a first-rate family. There were also rumors. Right now, he was already titled. Are you looking down on me? Steel Bear's eyes were grave and stern. Whether it was the old man on the ground or Bear in his arms, they couldn't help but exclaim, Brother! Young Master Bear! Bear swore that this was the first time in a long time that he had called Bear brother so sincerely. He had come at the right time. He was simply the savior of the world. Do you see that? If you don't have strength, even if you're a direct descendant of the Steel family, he won't care about you. Steel Bear wasn't surprised at all. This time, Bear didn't show any reluctance and nodded heavily. I know. Not bad. Your attitude this time is very sincere. Bear patted Bear's shoulder and then looked at Cheetah. I don't care which family you're from. Go back and tell your master that I'll go find him. Scram. Chapter 23:31. It's a mess. It's all a mess. In the distance, Black Tiger shook his head. Everything had ended the moment Steelbad had appeared. Whether it was Tower trying to use Suiyun to threaten Yizichin, or perhaps it was Black Tiger's own secret plan, none of them would succeed. After all, Steelbad was a publicly acknowledged genius. His talent was enough to strike fear into the hearts of the Outlanders, and he was on the Outlanders' wanted list. His strength. He seemed to be at the Count level. Wait. Steelbad has the strength of a Count. Doesn't that mean that I'm standing here? Black Tiger's heart skipped a beat. Steelbad spoke up. Although he was far away, he felt like he was right next to Black Tiger's ear. Stop hiding and come out. F***CK. I've been discovered. Black Tiger clenched his fist. He'd been too careless. Given the alertness of an Earl, he should have been able to detect Su Ping. But who would have thought that a titled battle pet warrior would be involved? At the same time, he understood. The people who'd come were from the Steel family. No wonder Tower told them so much. Given Tower's personality, he should have attacked long ago. Man proposes, God disposes. He'd thought it was a perfect plan, but the Steel family had interfered. Bro, why did you suddenly come? Asked Ball, who'd been placed on the ground. I just happened to come here to take care of business, Steelbad replied casually. Steelbad replied casually and patted Bar's shoulder. How is it? Are you badly hurt? I'm fine, haha. Bar grinned and shrugged, pretending to be relaxed. I'm pretty good at taking hits, and he didn't hit me too hard. Luckily, you came in time. Otherwise, my friend would have been captured. Oh. Steelbad squinted his eyes. Ball pointed at Suiyun. That's him. Bard nodded in response, but he had no intention of opening his mouth. No matter what. He was also a Count, while Suiyun was only at the domain level. Their positions and strengths weren't equal. Even if Suiyun was a genius. Wasn't Ball one? He was a genius recognized by the entire universe. It's not bad to be able to make a few friends. Steelbad smiled, then squinted his eyes and looked into the distance. Still not coming out? Are you really going to let me treat you? I already gave you a lot of face just now. Steelbar's voice fell. The surrounding people were a little confused. Who's hiding? Could it be that someone else was paying attention here? Not long after, Black Tiger slowly walked out with an awkward smile on his face, followed by his trademark scratching of his head. When he saw the Black Tiger, Tower, who was holding the war hammer, was stunned. Why are you here? Aren't you taking care of Taimo? Taimo was severely injured. Black Tiger volunteered to stay and take care of him. Cheetah didn't think too much about it. Besides, the way he saw it, he didn't need Black Tiger's help to pursue Suiyun, so he agreed. Black Tiger actually appeared here. I'm just worried about him. Black Tiger frowned. His eyes revealed a troubled and worried look. He scratched his head and said, Brother Taimo has hurt me. I'm afraid that he will hurt you too. Since you're already here, why don't you come out? The tower asked. I don't dare. Black Tiger still had that honest look. Didn't you tell me not to come? I'm afraid that my sudden appearance will make you unhappy, Tower Bro. Warrior level. The old man from the Steel Bar family frowned. He didn't expect there to be 2 warrior-level warriors here. If both of them attacked at the same time from the start, they probably wouldn't have waited for young Master Bard to come here. Unfortunately now, young Master Bard was here. With young Master Bard here, these warrior-level warriors had no chance of attacking them. The old man and Suiyun gathered next to Steel Bar. Not far away, Black Tiger also walked up to Cheetah. Big bro Cheetah, you won't blame me, right? Black Tiger scratched his head. He looked as honest as he could be. No one would have any other thoughts about him. Why would I blame you? Cheetah always had a good impression of Black Tiger. He was honest, simple, and didn't seem to have any ulterior motives. He didn't have any desire to fight for power. He was hard-working. He came here because he was afraid that something would happen to him. Cheetah naturally wouldn't blame him. That's good. Black Tiger breathed a sigh of relief. Then, he glanced at Bard behind him. Brother Cheetah, what do we do now? We probably won't be able to catch that Suiyun. I know. Cheetah was unwilling to give up. A marquee-level artifact was right in front of him, but he couldn't snatch it with his own hands. It would be fine if it was a senior, but it was a domain-level insect. Not being able to obtain it was even worse than being killed. Your Highness Bard. Cheetah took 2 deep breaths. He walked up to Steel Bar and bowed deeply. I'm very sorry for hurting your little brother. Isn't it too late to apologize now? Steel Bard narrowed his eyes. When he mentioned the Steel Bard family, you should have stopped. You're right. Cheetah lowered his stance and spoke with sincerity. It's all my fault. Please forgive me. I will immediately leave Azure River Planet with my men. I won't come looking for trouble again. Scram. Steel Bar seemed to be too lazy to talk to him. Don't try to take revenge. I'll say it again. Go back and tell your master that I'll pay him a visit soon. You guys should know, if I want to investigate you, it's very simple. Understood. Cheetah nodded heavily. Of course we know Your Highness Steel Bar's position in the Virtual World Corporation. It's a piece of cake for you to investigate us. Good that you know. Scram, Bard waved his hand. He was no longer interested in talking to Cheetah. Cheetah was as obedient as a grandson. He walked away step by step. When he took his 3rd step, the warhammer in his hand suddenly flew out. The warhammer was actually aimed at Steel Bar. You're courting death. Bard was furious. He raised his warhammer and slammed it down. But at the same time, Cheetah threw 3 silver needles at Bard. The timing of the needles and the warhammer was very tricky. If he was going to deal with the warhammer, he couldn't deal with the needles. If he was going to deal with the needles, he definitely couldn't deal with the warhammer. Bard knew very well. He took a deep breath. In the end, he still chose to press the warhammer down. The 3 silver needles also drilled into his body. Cough. When the silver needles entered his body, Bard couldn't help but cough violently. Blood flowed uncontrollably from his nose and mouth. Poison! And it was poison. Young Master Bard. The old man was shocked. Bard, who was holding his head, also shouted. Brother! Chapter 23:32. Fresh blood gushed out uncontrollably. Bard's face turned purplish-black in an instant. His hands trembled uncontrollably. Earl level. He had lost the ability to resist after being hit by a hidden weapon. Almost at the same time, Bard frowned and slammed his palm on the ground. With him as the center, suddenly, a barrier appeared and a wisp of green smoke was released. Brother Bar's eyes were filled with worry. He would never have thought that Bard would fall for such a small trick. "It's all my fault." "It's not your fault." Bard panted heavily. He raised his hand as if he wanted to touch Bar's head, but he did not have the strength. His body did not allow him to do so. Seeing this scene, Bar hurriedly moved closer. Bard smiled knowingly, but he could not help but spit out another mouthful of blood, splashing onto Bar's face. "Brother, don't worry, I won't die." Bard grimaced, blood flowing from his mouth. "I've already sent out a signal. The people from the virtual world group will definitely come here when they see it." "Brother?" Bar was already crying his eyes out. He could not even say a word now. The relationship between the two brothers had always been bad, but he knew very well that Bard was a very proud person. The proud him, sending out a distress signal to the virtual world, proved that his current situation was really bad, so bad that he did not have time to deal with that warlord level. "Ha ha, it's exactly as I thought." Standing outside the defensive barrier, Tower laughed maniacally. "Steelbard, I have to admit that you are a genius. Only Earls can master space travel, and only Venerables can master it. You are so good to your brother. You sensed that he was in danger and forced space travel to this place. Your body is already at the end of its life, so a few small poisonous needles can take your life." "What?" Bar was completely stunned. He stared blankly at Steelbard in front of him. Space travel? Did he come from the dark universe? Perhaps others did not understand space travel, but as a direct descendant of the Steel family, Steelbard knew a little about it. Space travel was a space jump from the dark universe. It was the fastest way to travel. Under normal circumstances, the dark universe was traveled by spaceship. This was because the pressure inside the dark universe was so great that it was difficult for humans to travel through it. Even supremacies who had mastered spatial travel would not do so easily. Teleportation was even more dangerous than spatial jump. Forcefully traversing through space would place a heavy burden on the body and cause serious damage to the body. No wonder Bar was curious as to why Steelbad's face was so pale when he arrived. The other party clearly didn't take the Steel family seriously. He didn't defend his family's honor, but instead urged the other party to get lost. It wasn't that he didn't want to fight, it was his body that did not allow him to attack. "Brother, is this true?" Bard pursed his lips, and his eyes trembled violently. He never knew that Steelbad cared about him so much. In his memories, Steelbard had his back turned, or rather, he had been watching Steelbard's back. He was the clan's genius. He was the next head of the family. He was the hope of the Steel family. He himself, he was a spoiled brat of the family. He couldn't do anything. He had no talent or interest in cultivation. The family was too lazy to give him any resources. This made him lose interest in the future. He might as well continue to fool around like this. In his heart, he hated Steelbad more and more. Even on the few occasions they met, Steelbard lectured him, telling him to work harder, telling him to do this and that, and he grew to dislike Steelbard even more. Now Tower said that Steelbad had used spatial travel to come here to save him. "If you can save me some trouble. If you were a warlord, I wouldn't have come. When will you learn to grow up?" Steelbad smiled bitterly. Bar's heart felt as if it had been hit by a heavy hammer. Everything was true. Steelbad didn't come here to carry out a mission. He had come here through spatial travel. That's right. Azure River Planet. How could there be a mission in the center of the human universe? Even if there were so many human planets. How could there be such a coincidence? How could there be so many coincidences in this world? All of them. Actually, they were all done on purpose by someone else. "Brother, I know. I'll definitely cultivate properly. I'll definitely stand out. I'll definitely. Bar cried so hard that he couldn't make a sound. Bar forced a smile and patted his head. What are you crying for? Don't cry. I told you, I won't die. Don't worry. You're still comforting your brother at a time like this? Tower grinned. You should be very clear about your situation. The poison is about to invade your heart. What a pity. Such a genius of the universe is going to die at my hands. As a human, you attacked a human prince. Are you planning to betray the human race? The Steele family elder scolded angrily. He had already informed the upper echelons of the Steele family. He had even submitted Tower's appearance. Even the people here would die in a moment. Tower would also be wanted by the human race. Don't use the human race to pressure me. Do you humans treat us dwarves as your own? Tower grinned. He gripped his hammer and viciously smashed it down on the defensive barrier. You're quite aggressive. Let's see how many of my hammers he can take. Tower was indeed a rare decisive person. Compared to talking nonsense, he preferred to act directly. He knew very well that the smoke just now was a distress signal. He had to deal with all of them and take the river Styx before the people from the Virtual World Corporation arrived. Also, he had everything from Bard. As a prince, he definitely had more treasures in his hands. Big Brother Tower, you're crazy. Black Tiger ran up from behind and grabbed Tower's arm. They're from the Steele family. They're the princes of the Virtual World Corporation. Let go. Cheetah flew into a rage and slapped Black Tiger's face. Mind your own business. Do you believe that I won't kill you as well? Boom, 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 cracks began to appear on the barrier in less than 10 blows. Even then, there were still no reinforcements from the Virtual World Corporation. Why aren't they here yet? Ball rubbed his hands anxiously. Don't worry, the people from the Virtual World Corporation will come, Bard comforted. Ball shook his head. I'm not waiting for them. Then who are you waiting for? Kill. A flash of sword light suddenly appeared in the sky. Then, the black-robed Yi Zichen and Venerable Spirit Phoenix appeared in front of the barrier. Chapter 23:33. Yezi! Stillbar cried out in alarm. It had already been more than half an hour since Yi Zichen contacted him. In Bar's opinion, he should have arrived a long time ago. A ray of sword light caused Cheetah, who was holding a hammer, to instinctively retreat dozens of meters. Yi Zichen also looked behind him. The situation was worse than she had imagined. Star State. Ha ha, this is really interesting. I've been in the universe for so long, but I've never met so many fearless juniors. The pagoda's eyebrows were ferocious. The color in his eyes had already begun to turn somewhat deranged. Soon, as he looked at Yi Zichen, he couldn't help but frown. He frowned at Yi Zichen's face, then took out a crystal, which reflected Yi Zichen's photo. It's you. The tower grinned. Good, I didn't expect that you would come to me on your own before I took the initiative to look for you. From the words of the living tower, Yi Zichen could already sense that the person in front of him seemed to be looking for him. Are you looking for me? You're Yi Zichen, right? Your character name in the second world is Future. Instantly, Yi Zichen's expression froze. Hegemon might sent you here. In the second universe, if one were to talk about enmity, it would be with Overlord Might. Yi Zichen instantly thought of him. It's true, putting the grudges in the game into real life is really tasteless. Yi Zichen never would have guessed that the might of a hegemon could reach such a level. In the universe, traveling in a spaceship was time-consuming. Based on the conflict between Yi Zichen and Wei in the game, it seemed like Yi Zichen stole a few wild bosses from him at the beginning of the game. If that was the case, at the very beginning of the game, Overlord had already arranged for people to cause trouble for him. Later on, when they met in the game, Overlord might also acted like he was waiting for Yi Zichen's death. Did you ask Haka to check on me a few days ago? Did you send someone to kill Hacker? Cheetah frowned, a smile appearing in his eyes. I didn't expect you to be so decisive. Looks like the person they're looking for is you. Venerable Spirit Phoenix squinted her eyes and smiled, while Yi Zichen nodded noncommittally. If he still couldn't figure out the purpose of these people at this point, then he was really stupid. Do you need my help? Venerable Spirit Phoenix asked. Can I? Yi Zichen's eyes revealed a hint of surprise. It would naturally be best if the Venerable Spirit Phoenix could help. No. Venerable Spirit Phoenix changed the topic. I'm not your hired thug. Of course, if you have the money to hire me, it's not impossible. Stop. Yi Zichen wouldn't be able to afford to hire a superior-level fighter even if he sold himself. He let out a soft sigh, feeling a little disappointed. Fortunately, Yi Zichen had never thought of letting Her Majesty Spirit Phoenix do anything. She was merely a warlord. Since he had the hollow ore set, it was not like he did not have the strength to fight. I'll leave them to you. Yi Zichen glanced at the heavy man behind him. He had met Steelbard once before, but he did not expect Steelbard to be here as well. His situation seemed to be the worst among the heavy ones. He was already an earl, wasn't he? A while ago, Steelbard had mentioned to Yi Zichen that his older brother was already a earl when he was free. At that time, Yi Zichen had been amazed by Steelbard's genius, and had comforted Steelbard, telling him not to be discouraged. A earl was actually heavily injured by a warlord. All right, leave it to me. Venerable Spirit Phoenix did not refuse. No matter what, he's someone from the Virtual World Corporation, it's no big deal to help. At the location Bar had sent, Yi Zichen and Venerable Spirit Phoenix were already hurrying over. However, Bar had sent Yi Zichen the map, and Yi Zichen wanted to send it to Venerable Spirit Phoenix, but was refused. Thus, he had no choice but to tell them verbally, which resulted in them not arriving even after half an hour. Furthermore, it was a distress signal from Steelbard. They had just guessed that it was the location they were supposed to be at, so they hurried over. See that, during that time, Venerable Spirit Phoenix raised her eyebrows towards Steelbard. This is the result of traveling through space. Travel. That's right, Venerable Spirit Phoenix shrugged. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix shrugged. I can tell that he traveled through space to get here. He has just reached the titled rank and he has learned to travel through space. What a genius. It's a pity that he tried to travel through space too hard. His body is running out of oil and he was poisoned. It's lucky that he ran into me. Otherwise, he would have died. Sorry for the trouble, Yi Zichen nodded. Yi Zichen nodded, while Venerable Spirit Phoenix nodded as well, then left. Be careful, if you get beaten to death, I won't be able to explain it to my little sister. I know. Yi Zichen smiled wryly, then gripped his sword. Venerable Spirit Phoenix didn't pay any more attention to him, and directly walked through the barrier. Steelbard, who was sitting on the ground, instantly opened his eyes wide. Say, shoo, Venerable Spirit Phoenix signaled him not to speak. You were the one who sent the distress signal, right? Yes. Give me your hand. Steelbard reached out his hand without any hesitation. The senior in front of him had walked directly into the barrier from the outside. If he wasn't wrong, this should be a sovereign-level senior. It's really hard to imagine. Bar's good friend actually has a sovereign behind him. Just the appearance of this sovereign-level senior was enough for the Steeler family to treat Yi Zichen as an esteemed guest. You were a bit careless. A warrior-level hidden weapon was thrown out, yet a count-level like you was hit? Steelbard, who was grabbed by the arm by Venerable Spirit Phoenix, could clearly feel a scorching energy coursing through his body. The 3 poison needles in his body, they were also completely captured by the energy. Actually, forcing the poison needles out was very simple, but he already had no energy left after traveling through the universe. His body was in a very bad condition, and he was poisoned. The poison prevented him from gathering energy. Thus, it became a vicious cycle. Senior's teachings are correct. Steelbard didn't retort. He merely watched as Venerable Spirit Phoenix patted his junior, causing the 3 poison needles to fly out of his body and onto the ground. Then, Venerable Spirit Phoenix went to take a look at the poison needles. "It's all right, it's not a strong poison." With that, Venerable Spirit Phoenix took out a pill and chucked it into Steelbard's mouth. "Recover well. Senior, are you not going to care about Brother Yi?" Steelbard asked. From his perspective, Yi Zichen, who was at the star level, was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. He wanted to go up himself. "What can I do?" Venerable Spirit Phoenix twitched her mouth. "Let him fight." Chapter 2334. If Yi Zichen knew what the Venerable Spirit Phoenix said, he would definitely explode. "What do you mean I want to fight? I don't want to fight, okay?" Even an idiot would know that a star level fighting a warlord level was no match. If the Venerable Spirit Phoenix was willing to help, he was absolutely willing. What's more, with the Venerable Spirit Phoenix here, he actually had a lot of trump cards that he couldn't use. Godhead. The Godhead of Swords was Yi Zichen's biggest trump card. He definitely couldn't use it with the Venerable Spirit Phoenix around. But without her, after learning about the situation of the God race from her, he definitely wouldn't use it lightly. Then there was the elemental spirits. It could be said that he couldn't let anyone else know about his many methods. Any one of them would bring him trouble. The only thing he could rely on was the hollow or set. Although a complete set was very expensive, it was something he could buy, unlike the elemental spirits or godheads that would cause chaos. Training. Steelbad, who was sitting within the barrier, was shocked when he heard the Venerable Spirit Phoenix's words. If it was training for the younger generation, a battle between stellar-level warlords felt a little too exaggerated. One could comprehend the laws of the universe when they reached the universe level. Obtaining a martial spirit and controlling the element. Steelbad could understand if it was a star system level. That was how he had gotten through step by step back then, as expected of a venerable one. That was because of the absolute strength of a venerable. They didn't need to worry about anything happening in between. With their strength, they could act the moment Yi Zichen was in danger. At that moment, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix gazed into the distance. She looked at the blue sky above her head. A hint of a smile appeared in her eyes. F***ck. That old hag noticed me? At this moment, in the void of the Blue River Star, the space elemental sprite leisurely was hiding in the void, secretly watching the situation below it. Since she agreed to Rouge's words, she would definitely do it seriously. After leaving the Land of Time, she traveled through space to Blue River Planet. After confirming Yi Zichen's location, she followed him here. Along the way, she had been worried about whether the Venerable Spirit Phoenix would notice her or not. Just now, from the Venerable Spirit Phoenix's gaze and smile, she was certain that she definitely noticed her. What should I do? I'm so scared." Yu pursed her lips and rubbed her hands together. She had always been timid, and now that she was being targeted by a human supremacy, she was truly afraid of death. Humans were very enthusiastic about elemental spirit. "She won't catch me, will she?" Yu exhaled deeply as she rubbed her hands together. If the Venerable Spirit Phoenix really wanted to capture her, she would directly use a spatial shuttle to escape. If a human were to travel through space, it would be a huge burden. Moreover, that old hag just smiled. Maybe she didn't realize that she had been. "Why are you following us?" Just as Yu was comforting herself, a question suddenly popped up in her mind. In an instant, Yu froze and stared at the Venerable Spirit Phoenix. "It's me, I'm talking to you." The Venerable Spirit Phoenix raised her head and looked at Yu in the void. "I've been paying attention to you for a long time. You've been keeping an eye on Yi Zichen ever since we left Blue River Star. What exactly do you want? Release the elemental spirits in his body? What do you want?" Yu frowned. "It's not what I want, it's what you want." The Venerable Spirit Phoenix's tone was somewhat unfriendly. "I advise you to give up on the idea of releasing your elemental spirit. With me here, no one can take away his elemental spirit, including you. If I'm not mistaken, you're an adult space elemental sprite, right? This old witch Yo-Yo was stunned. The other party could tell that she was an elemental elf and knew that she was an adult. Since when did the human race have such an old monster? Why aren't you talking? Who is going to release the elemental spirits? Yu was so scared that she was tongue-tied and immediately coughed. Don't scare me, I, Tang Yu, am not scared. Tang Yu is your name? The venerable spirit phoenix said. Yes. Yo-Yo frowned. I'll tell you again, I'm not afraid of you at all, and I'm not here to cause trouble. Don't provoke me, I'm not someone to be trifled with. Don't even think about catching me, I'm not easy to catch. Are you sure? Venerable Spirit Phoenix stood within the defensive barrier. Inexplicably, he snapped his fingers. As a space elemental spirit, she had a very keen insight into the changes in the surrounding space. She instantly felt that the surrounding space had been sealed. More importantly, she was actually unable to jump out. It's too easy for me to catch you. You're the worst adult space elemental spirit I've ever seen. The venerable spirit phoenix shrugged, then snapped his fingers again, releasing the space around Tang Yu. Don't be afraid, I don't have any interest in you space elemental spirit. As you can see, your space elemental spirit's attainments in space are inferior to mine. What are you trying to do? Yu frowned. I should be asking you that. The venerable spirit phoenix said, why do you keep following him? He's just a star-stage salted fish. He doesn't have any bright spots, Yu. Why is this spatial elemental spirit following him? What does he have that's worth following? I'm willing. I find him pleasing to the eye, so without waiting for Tang Yu to finish speaking, the space around her was completely sealed again. I don't like your attitude. The venerable spirit phoenix squinted her eyes, which flashed with coldness. I was asked by someone to take care of Yi Zichen for 10 days. I can leave after 10 days, Tang Yu replied. Take care of him for 10 days? The venerable spirit phoenix looked at Yu, who was in the sky, and released the seal around her. Why? It seems like this guy will be in danger. My friend told me to come and take a look. If he's in danger, then I'll save him. Who's your friend? Is he an elemental spirit as well? No. Tang Yu lied. It's a human. I have a rather good relationship with her. She calculated that Yi Zichen was in danger, so she told me to. Are you sure? Of course. Tang Yu nodded with force, while her face was filled with innocence. I never lie. That's how it is. I'll leave after 10 days. Where's the danger coming from? I don't know. Tang Yu twitched her mouth. She didn't say anything, she just told me to come here. But it seems like the danger is very serious. Why? Because you're here, Tang Yu said. With you by his side, the fact that he's still in danger proves that. The danger comes from the Venerable One? Yes. Chapter 2335. The danger came from the Venerable One. Venerable Spirit Phoenix did not say a word as she looked up at the void surrounding the Azure River Star. How could there be a Venerable in such a small place? Since you're a Venerable, there's no use even if you come. If there really was a supremacy here, forget about helping, it would already be great if you weren't captured, said the Spirit Phoenix. Hearing that, Tang Yu clenched his fists. This was the most humiliating day of her life as a spatial elemental spirit. As a spatial elemental spirit, she could even escape from the Reaper's spatial seal, yet she had encountered this old monster. Whether it was his eyesight, strength, or even his mastery of space, he was superior to her, an elemental elf. The space elemental sprite had been sealed. What a shame! Clenching his fists angrily, Tang Yu frowned. I didn't know it was a venerable before I came. Is that so? The venerable spirit phoenix tilted her head and pondered for a long time. It was hard to imagine that such an adorable expression would appear on a venerable expert. All right, since that's the case, let's cooperate. I'm not interested in you. You can rest assured that I won't capture you. Roar, Tang Yu replied. Even though not being caught was something that made her happy, being despised like this always made her feel a little unhappy. She was a spatial elemental spirit. Wouldn't the eyes of the human race's experts light up when they see her and treat her like a treasure? You are a space elemental sprite, so your control over the surrounding space must be very strong. I'll leave it to you to check out the surroundings. If you sense any venerable appear, inform me. Sure, no problem. Tang Yu nodded lightly. This kind of thing was indeed something that she could do. I'll say this in advance, I won't fight. If you want to fight, don't look for me. There's no need for you. Supremacy Spirit Phoenix shrugged. It's just a small supremacy. I can handle it. Roar, Tang Yu nodded silently again. In his heart, he was gnashing his teeth in hatred. This old hag's words are really infuriating. Just as the venerable Spirit Phoenix and the space elemental spirit were discussing, Steelbar, who had been paying attention to the situation outside, suddenly shouted. Yezi! Dong Yizichin, who was fighting Tower, felt a heavy hammer slam into his back. The enormous warlord-level power instantly blasted Yizichin down. A mere stellar-level warrior dares to show off in front of me? Chi Ta's eyes were filled with disdain. If nothing out of the ordinary happened, Yizichin was definitely dead for sure. That was his personality. No matter who he faced, he would give it his all. Just now, he'd used all of his warlord-level strength. The hammer struck Yizichin squarely in the back. With the strength of the hammer, even if Yizichin wasn't blasted to smithereens, his internal organs would definitely shatter. Yizichin was dead meat. He couldn't be bothered to check on Yizichin any longer. He gripped his warhammer and walked towards the barrier. Yi-Zi! Bal and Suyun shouted with bloodshot eyes. Ever since Yizichin started fighting Chi Ta, the two of them had been worried for him. From Bar's perspective, Yizichin had no chance of winning. No matter what, Yizichin was a warlord-level warrior. Suyun, who had been through many life and death situations with Yizichin, hoped for a miracle. In his mind, Yizichin was always able to give people unbelievable endings. Steelbad also frowned deeply, however, when he saw the Spirit Phoenix's expression. He did not reveal a worried expression like Suyun and Bal. The fact that the Spirit Phoenix wasn't worried meant that Yizichin was still alive. Stellar level. He's still fine after getting hit by a warlord-level hammer? Black Tiger, go and record it and send it to young master. Chi Ta twisted his neck in satisfaction as he held his hammer. Then, he slowly walked towards the defensive barrier in front of him. He raised his hammer high up in the air, slash. Suddenly, a golden light leaped out of the crater and engulfed Chi Ta. Then, Yizichin appeared from the crater. He stood beside the crater with a long sword in hand. So painful. Yizichin couldn't help but clutch his chest. The armor in front of his chest had already caved in. Even the hollow ore's self-recovery ability did not allow the armor to recover in a short while. It had to be said, the hollow ore negated 99% of the hammer's power. Even so, Yizichin still felt like his blood was boiling. At the end of the day, it was because the warlord level was too strong, and he was a stellar level. If he was a stellar level, then his situation would be much better. You're actually still alive. Chi Ta, who walked out of the golden light, revealed a look of shock in his eyes. He looked at Yizichin, who was grinning in the distance, and swung his hammer down without any hesitation. Raise your sword. Yizichin gripped the weapon in his hand and blocked Chi Ta's hammer with clenched teeth. The weapon shattered the moment it came into contact with the hammer. The hammer landed on Yizichin's shoulder without any problems. This caused Yizichin's shoulder to sink downwards. How could this be? Chi Ta stared at Yizichin's robe. Hollow ore? Steelbat exclaimed. It's actually a full set of hollow ore equipment. While exclaiming, Steelbat also couldn't help but look towards the Spirit Phoenix. No wonder the spirit phoenix could be so calm. An entire set of hollow ore equipment, even a warlord would have to negate a lot of the force. As expected of the spirit phoenix, such extravagance. Ignoring everything else, just this set of hollow ore equipment would cost at least a few billion. Even the Steel family couldn't make this sort of complaint. Hollow ore, it's actually hollow ore. Cheetah also recognized it. His eyes turned red as he looked at the set of hollow ore equipment. Why a domain level junior has a marquee level treasure. A stellar level junior is wearing a full set of hollow ore equipment. He's a warlord. He can't even compare to a few domain level ant. Die. Cheetah's hammer swung down towards Yi Zichen's head when Yi Zichen's weapon shattered. Hollow ore could negate the force. However, if it landed on Yi Zichen's head, even if he negated the force would still enter his head. Even if it was just a strand, he was confident that he could turn Yi Zichen into an idiot. The hammer fell. Yi Zichen was shocked when he saw that. He wanted to retreat, but he noticed that Cheetah had already bound the space around him with universal energy. It would take at least a few seconds for him to break free. Those few seconds were more than enough for Cheetah to swing his hammer down. Die. Cheetah's expression turned menacing as he swung his hammer down with all his might. The moment he swung his hammer down, spatial teleportation? Chapter 2336. In the sky. Tang Yu lightly patted her chest with her small hand. That was a close call. It was fortunate that big sister Yu reacted quickly enough, otherwise, that guy would have been beaten into an idiot. Yi Zichen, who was clearly sealed, just as the hammer was about to fall, he suddenly moved several hundred meters away. Cheetah's hammer missed. The ground in front of him cracked. How could this be? Cheetah couldn't help but frown as he looked at Yi Zichen, who was several hundred meters away. He clearly sealed Yi Zichen just now. Although he couldn't control space, nor did he have any talent in that area, his warlord-level strength was able to compress the surrounding space with cosmic energy. That was definitely not something a star level could break free from. Just as he was hesitating, Yi Zichen hurried in front of the spirit phoenix. Big sis. Save me, I really can't beat him. In the short exchange just now, Yi Zichen truly felt the difference between him and a warlord. With the hollow mind, he could indeed not die against a warlord. But that was just not dying. If he truly wanted to win, he had to use his trump card. For example, condensing a godhead. With the support of the sword godhead, Yi Zichen could use the defense of the hollow mind to destroy Cheetah's attacks. Or the 5 elements elemental spirits, summon the elemental spirit. Win with the power of the 5 elements. Right now, he couldn't use either of these trump cards. Just relying on his own strength, let alone killing the tower, even breaking through its defenses was a problem. Big sis. Yi Zichen hurriedly ran back, while Venerable Spirit Phoenix looked at him with a frown and a smile in her eyes. You're giving up just like that? I'm not giving up, I really can't beat him, Yi Zichen shrugged. You do it. You can't beat him, or you're not going all out. The Spirit Phoenix smiled, then slowly walked out of the barrier and patted Yi Zichen's shoulder. You like hiding so much, are you afraid that I'll find out? With that said, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix walked outside in a few steps. Yi Zichen let out a deep breath. This Spirit Phoenix is truly too worrying. When she was by his side, he always felt that his secrets were being seen by her. No, it was very likely that she already knew and was just waiting for him to expose himself. Yi Zi, are you alright? Su Yun and Bar charged forward. Haha, I'm fine, Yi Zichen grinned, then looked Su Yun up and down. I'm alright. Rest assured. In truth, Su Yun's situation was that he'd used the river Styx to forcefully block the tower's attack, causing his chi and blood to surge. In this period of time, he had already recovered F***CK. No wonder you're my brother. The first thing you care about is old Su. You didn't even ask me how I was. Bar curled his lips. Ha ha ha, you damn fatty. Yizichin punched Bar. Do you think I can't tell that you're fine? Don't look for trouble here. F***ck. Ba bellowed, then looked at the venerable spirit phoenix outside. The beauty outside is your sister. Can she go out? Is she a match for a warlord? Bar, don't talk nonsense. At this moment, Steelbad spoke. The frown on his face was very frightening. Soon after, he saw the heavily injured and yet to recover. He forced himself to his feet, then tottered over to Yizichin and bowed deeply. Many thanks for Brother Ye's help, and many thanks to the seniors of Brother Ye's clan. Bard, you're being too serious. Yizichin quickly supported Bard and smiled. What's there to thank me for? You haven't fully recovered from your injuries yet, so you should take care of yourself. We've troubled a venerable to make a move. If we don't even thank him, our Steel family really wouldn't be able to do it. Steelbad said, From today onwards, Brother Yi, you're our Steel family's distinguished guest. If there's anything you need in the future, as long as it's within my capabilities, I'll definitely do my best to help. Ha ha ha, good. Still Bard, Still Keek, two members of the Steel family, had already told him the same thing. Bard, Suiyun, and the old man all looked terrified. Venerable One. Brother, you just said the Venerable One. That's why I told you not to talk nonsense. Steelbad frowned. Do you know who Brother Ye's sister is? She's a venerable level senior. How dare you talk about a venerable behind her back? If anything happens, even the clan leader won't be able to save you. Gulp Steelbar was dumbfounded. Venerable realm. One must know that there were only so many supremacies in the entire first universe. He stared at Yizichin in shock. When they first met and saw Yizichin take out the universe gold card, he knew that Yizichin's background was absolutely extraordinary. However, Bar didn't make friends based on background. Although he was curious, Yizichin didn't say. Bar didn't ask, nor did he investigate. Right now, Yizichin's older sister is actually a sovereign. Bar reached out his hand and patted Yizichin's shoulder. You really had a hard time hiding it from me. There's actually a sovereign in your family? If she's your big sister, then are there other venerables in your family? Wow, with your background, you used to complain about being poor to me. You're really shameless. It was obvious that Steelbad had misunderstood the situation. Just now, he had called Venerable Spirit Phoenix big sister, which made him mistakenly think that she was his biological sister. A misunderstanding is a misunderstanding. What Yizichin hated the most was making unnecessary explanations like this. He grinned at Bar. Bar still looked angry, while Bart and the old man looked at Venerable Spirit Phoenix with respect. Suiyun was the only one who furrowed his brows. He and Yizichin knew each other very well. It was clear that this venerable was not from the Milky Way. That guy is really done for. Bar grinned as he looked at the people outside who didn't know that a catastrophe was about to befall them. Of all people to provoke, you actually dared to provoke someone with a venerable background. You won't even know how you died. That's right. This champion is in big trouble. Bard nodded in agreement. Everyone looked outside. After learning that the Venerable Spirit Phoenix was a venerable, everyone already knew the result. He saw Venerable Spirit Phoenix leisurely strolled outside, as if she couldn't bring herself to do anything. She stretched lazily. She tilted her head. Then, she stared at the tower of dwarves, who were not even as tall as her. You saw it. That little fellow doesn't want to fight with you anymore, so I had to come out. Actually, I don't like bullying the weak. What a pity, I hate you more. Say it, how do you want to die? I'll give you a choice. Chapter 23:37. It was a very retarded line. If it wasn't for the fact that everyone knew of the Spirit Phoenix's identity, they would have thought that it was the last words of an antagonist that was about to die. But now Steelbard had already said that the Spirit Phoenix had the strength of a sovereign. No one would think that it was very immature. Most of them just silently mourned for Tower in their hearts. The spirit phoenix said that he was going to die. Then he was truly going to die, and no one would be able to save him. Where did you come from? Don't butt in when it's none of your business. Tower's eyes were filled with violence, as if he didn't know that the person standing in front of him was a sovereign. Yet, whether it was a coincidence or not, he didn't use any insults in his words. It was completely the disregard of an ant by a superior. Tower couldn't be interested at all. Have you thought about how you're going to die? The spirit phoenix continued to tilt her head, and ignored Tower's words as she continued to look forward. You're not going to do it. Seeing that the spirit phoenix was still stubborn, Tower raised his war hammer and wanted to step forward. However, before he even took half a step forward, he felt that the space around him had been completely sealed. All of a sudden, he froze on the spot. If I'm not wrong, then what's binding me isn't some higher-level cosmic energy, but pure spatial elemental energy, sealing me in the current space. Being able to use the power of space. A sovereign. Dong! The war hammer in Tower's hand suddenly fell from his hand, and landed on the ground, causing a small crater to appear, causing dust to fly into the air. Cheetah's throat trembled violently. The arrogance and haughtiness from before had vanished into thin air at this moment. He no longer had any right to be haughty. In front of a sovereign, he didn't even have the right to raise his head. No wonder Yi Zichen had suddenly disappeared in front of him when his hammer was about to fall. At the time, he had wondered if there was a problem with his seal. But from the looks of it, the sovereign had been paying attention to Yi Zichen's situation from the very beginning. The fight between Yi Zichen and Tower was a form of training for Yi Zichen. In other words, the person behind Yi Zichen was a sovereign. So was the person with the marquee-level magic artifact. It was all too easy for them to get a marquee-level magic artifact when they had the backing of a sovereign. Star rank, domain rank, how could he possibly have those high-grade magic treasures? To be able to possess all of this, there must be an expert standing behind him. Why was he so stupid? He was so stupid that he didn't even think of such a simple logic. Could it be that he was blinded by wealth and lost his mind? Your Honor, Cheetah gulped, unable to utter a single word for a long time. Don't waste my time. Tell me how you want to die. I can do my best to satisfy your need for death. The venerable spirit phoenix narrowed her eyes and smiled. An intact corpse, a half-corpse, or nothing. You decide. Saying these words with a smile, what's more, it happened to a woman with a pretty face. Others might not be able to feel this scene, but it was as terrifying as it could be for the people in the Tower of Rising Towers. A venerable realm senior wanted him dead. Senior, this junior doesn't want to die. He wanted to kneel when he got up from the pagoda, but he couldn't even bend his knees due to the sealed space. Senior, this junior has eyes but failed to see. This junior has eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. This is all Junior's fault. Please show mercy and spare. Do you want me to repeat the same words for the fourth time? The venerable spirit phoenix interrupted him coldly, while Cheetah's back was instantly covered in cold sweat. Big sis, ask him who told him to come. All of a sudden, Yi Zichen's words appeared in the venerable spirit phoenix's mind. The requirement for the star level was that of a venerable. This sort of thing has never happened in this universe. The venerable spirit phoenix turned around and glanced at him, but she didn't reveal any unhappy expression. Instead, she looked at Yi Zichen with a hint of bitterness, as if she was saying, "She's a venerable, there has to be a limit to ordering her around." Then, she actually turned around and looked towards Cheetah. "Who told you to come?" An opportunity. Cheetah, who was in despair, felt that this question was like a ray of light in the darkness. He didn't even think about it. It's Kawei, the son of the Virtual World Corporation's deputy, Casey. He has some grudges with young Master Yi in the Second World, game developed by the Virtual World Corporation, so he told us to deal with him. In order to push all the blame away, Cheetah intentionally explained everything in great detail. Of course, He also hid some words that were disadvantageous to him. When he finished, the venerable spirit phoenix turned around once again. It really is him. Yi Zichen clenched his fist. He merely wanted to confirm it, and didn't want to think about it based on his own subjective thoughts. But now Chi Ta had told the truth himself. This overlord might is truly domineering. Is there anything else you want to ask? The venerable spirit phoenix asked. No more. At the same time, he also flattered the venerable spirit phoenix. It's good to have Big Sis here. Following Big Sis is good. You really know how to talk. The venerable spirit phoenix smiled. For some reason, if one observed carefully, they would notice that the venerable spirit phoenix would only smile when she was facing Yi Zichen. Even if she did smile at other times, it would be a cold smile. It's from the bottom of my heart, Yi Zichen quickly expressed his loyalty. Smooth talker, the venerable spirit phoenix smiled, then looked towards Chi Ta, who was sealed. At that moment, Chi Ta was unable to calm down. When he saw the venerable spirit phoenix, he immediately spoke up. Senior, all of this really has nothing to do with me. I'm just a subordinate, I'm just selling my life for my master. Selling your life is a good word. Now, it's time for you to sell your life, the venerable spirit phoenix smiled. All of a sudden, Chi Ta's entire face turned bright red. He glared at the venerable spirit phoenix. Senior, I'm a warlord. I have legal citizenship, and am a high-level citizen of the universe. I also belong to the Virtual World Corporation. Even if you are a venerable, you don't have the right to decide my life or death. You can't kill me. High-level citizen. It was an identity that one could only obtain after reaching the universe level. If the domain level was the threshold for survival, then high-level citizens were a form of recognition from the universe country, and allowed them to enjoy some of the benefits and conveniences of humans. Among humans, killing a warlord was a very heavy crime. Even if it was a venerable, you can't casually kill them. Chi Ta shouted hysterically. The venerable spirit phoenix's eyes suddenly sank, and her expression was filled with disdain. Do you think I care? Virtual World Corporation? Even if you are from the Supremes Association, you will still die if you deserve to die. No one can stop me if I want to kill someone. Understand? Chapter 2338. No! 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 Within the seal, Chi Ta shook his head violently, as though he was trying to break free from the surrounding space seal. Alas, the Spirit Phoenix Sage's space seal had locked him in place. Don't even talk about struggling, he couldn't even lift his hand. All he could do was wait for death to descend upon him. Before death arrived, he could feel the fear in his heart. In the distance, Black Tiger's face couldn't help but drip with cold sweat. He didn't expect to meet a knight in this mission. Chi Ta was too presumptuous. Hence the knight had to deal with him first. After dealing with Chi Ta, wouldn't it be Black Tiger's turn? Just now he had said many things, all of which pointed out that he was in cahoots with Chi Ta. Run? Don't even think about it. In front of a knight, a warlord like him wanting to run was simply a fool's dream. How did things suddenly become like this? Black Tiger squinted his eyes, not knowing what to do. He could only send his consciousness into the virtual universe network, constantly sending messages outside. He was very clear, if no one stood up for him, then he would definitely die today. Have you thought about how you want to die? The Spirit Phoenix Sage was patient. She was a person who kept her promises. Speaking of giving Chi Ta a choice, before her patience ran out, she would definitely give him the right to choose. However, at this time, she was already running out of patience. You can't kill me. I'm a dwarf, I've already informed my race's Knight Senior, he's on his way here. If you kill me now, our dwarf race, huh? Dwarf race? The Spirit Phoenix Sage's face revealed shock. Your dwarf race already has a knight, yet your inferior race. You! Chi Ta was furious, directly insulting his race. This was something he couldn't accept no matter what. I dare you to say that again. In an instant, the spirit phoenix sage squinted, raising her finger. Chi-Ta was squeezed together by the surrounding space. Do you know who you're talking to? After saying that, the venerable spirit phoenix shrugged. If you think that the dwarf race's venerable can save you, then I'll wait here and let you understand before you die. If I want to kill someone, no one can help me. Soon after, the venerable spirit phoenix crossed her arms and stopped attacking. She stood there silently, looking at the space elemental spirit Tang Yu in the air. Feeling the venerable one's gaze, Tang Yu also nodded. In fact, venerable spirit phoenix had done this on purpose. If she really wanted to kill Chi-Ta, Chi-Ta would have been dead a long time ago. What she cared about was the danger that Tang Yu mentioned, which might be brought about by the venerable stage. That was why the venerable spirit phoenix was testing him. He wanted to find the venerable one. Since Chi-Ta mentioned that he had already notified the dwarf sovereign, then all I have to do is wait for him to come. If I kill him now, then who knows who the dwarf sovereign will blame. In the end, Yi Zichen will be the one to blame. Time slowly passed in the village of the Azure River planet. Venerable Spirit Phoenix was already yawning in exhaustion. The tower was still sealed by space, and Black Tiger stood silently in the distance, not daring to move an inch. Steelbad sent out a signal. He indicated that the people of the Virtual World Corporation did not need to come over to his place, and that his problem had already been solved. Everyone else also looked forward silently. Is this guy lying? How long has it been? Why hasn't the Venerable One come? Steelbad frowned and looked at the unchanging sky outside. AI Yeezy, if the Venerable One comes later, can your big sis deal with it? Do you need us, the Steel family, to send someone over? Yi Zichen tilted his head. Isn't that asking for a beating? I'm just waiting for my big sis to play with them herself since your Steel family isn't coming. Yi Zichen frowned, even though he wasn't really worried. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix was a venerable that could guard the Outlands. There was no need to doubt her strength. Earlier, when Chi-Ta mentioned the venerable of their clan, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix also said in shock that their clan had a venerable as well. This meant that their venerable one had only just stepped into the venerable stage, and was naturally no threat in front of the Venerable Spirit Phoenix. Even so, the Steel family can't just watch on like this, right? The two young masters nearly died. Are they really not going to send someone over to take a look? Brother Yi, don't worry. We already notified the Steel family to come. It's just that we only have one venerable in our family, so he can't come. Two of our family's king-level elders have already come through the dark space, Steelbat explained. Your family only has one venerable? Yi Zichen looked at Steelbat in shock. Steelbat frowned, then punched Yi Zichen. What's the meaning of this? Are you looking down on us, the Steel family? So what if we have one venerable? Do you know how rare venerables are? A family with one is already very. At that moment, Steelbad suddenly shut up. He glanced at the Venerable Spirit Phoenix, then back at Yi Zichen. Why am I telling you this? To be honest, Yi Zichen wasn't pretending. He was truly shocked that the Steel family actually had a venerable expert. In his eyes, the Steel family was already an extremely large family, and their businesses were huge. From what he saw, the Steel family should have at least 3 to 5 venerables. Who would have thought there was only one? Did he really not know that venerables were so rare? In the past few months, he already knew 3 venerables: Tianhai, White Phoenix, and the Venerable Spirit Phoenix. When he was in the second universe, White Phoenix always told him stories about the major powers, such as Wenli, the Master of the Milky Way, and the Blue Emperor. It made Yi Zichen feel like these venerables, overlords, and supremes weren't that far away from him. It wasn't like what others said at all, that venerables were unreachable. Our Steel family does indeed have one venerable. I believe that Brother Ye's family has many venerables and overlord seniors, right? said Steelbad with a smile. Yizichin merely grinned in response, but didn't respond. Seeing that Yizichin wasn't going to say anything, Steelbad naturally didn't ask any further. Thus, everyone silently waited for the dwarf's venerable to arrive, until, "He's here." Tang Yu, who was in the sky, suddenly spoke up. The venerable spirit phoenix also squinted her eyes and stretched lazily. In the sky above Green River Planet, a pair of withered yellow hands tore the space apart, and a 10-meter-tall giant slowly walked out. Esteemed Master, save me! Chapter 2339. It was a rift. Behind it was chaos and nothingness. This was the dark universe of the universe. The chaotic winds within it were enough to easily shatter even universe-level experts. A 10-odd-meter-tall giant stepped out of the rift barefoot. He blotted out the sky. The instant he appeared, everyone felt their vision darken. They looked up, all they could see was his enormous body. If it wasn't for the dwarf's unique hammer in his hand, they would have thought that he was a giant and not one of the dwarves of the universe. Esteemed Master! The sealed rising tower's eyes shone with hope. He shouted with all his might, causing his throat to become a bit hoarse. I survived. I can definitely survive. You still came to find me. The newcomer lowered his eyes and looked at the sealed tower below. His voice was like a clap of thunder, long and deep. Yizichin and company within the barrier as he spoke, they felt their ears ring, causing a pained expression to appear on their faces. Fortunately, Steelbad had recovered some of his strength. Only after setting up a barrier around them did Yizichin and company's situation improved somewhat. For some reason, it wasn't that Yizichin thought anything of the spirit phoenix, but he felt like this was the aura a sovereign should have. Whether it was the way he came out, or the way he spoke, or the way he acted, they all exuded the inviolable aura of a superior. The spirit phoenix, I feel like she's a bit too approachable. When Yizichin thought about everything she'd done in the past few days, if he didn't know she was a sovereign, he would have thought she was just a neighbor's little sister. Every day, she would act coquettishly and do things that made people feel that she was cute. Esteemed Master, do you know your wrongs? Said the dwarf venerable in the air. He wanted to nod his head in that instant, but the space around him was sealed, so he could only speak. Your disciple knows his mistake, said the dwarf venerable in the air. Go back to the clan and repent. Understood. The two dwarves acted as if they didn't see the others around them, and continued to talk about their own matters. The spirit phoenix didn't interrupt them, she allowed the master-disciple pair to reminisce. Why did you shatter the spirit stone I gave you and summon me here? The dwarf race supreme elder spoke. Master, someone wants to kill me! Chi-Ta shouted loudly. The dwarf venerable frowned when he heard this. Who? Me. Only then did the venerable spirit phoenix speak up with a smile. She looked up and said, Yes, I want to kill your disciple. Is there a problem? Release. The dwarf venerable instinctively wanted to rebuke him. The moment he opened his mouth, he forcefully swallowed the words that were on the tip of his tongue. His hands seemed to be trembling as he stood in the void. For a moment the situation froze. Venerable Spirit Phoenix looked up at the void with a smile, while the Venerable standing in the void didn't dare to speak for a long time. What happened? Weren't you acting like a Venerable One just now? Why are you suddenly mute? Venerable Spirit Phoenix chuckled. The dwarf Venerable in the sky hesitated for a long time. Anyone could see that the Venerable in front of them was terrified. When he saw that it was Venerable Spirit Phoenix, he already started to feel fear. Everyone in the defensive barrier was shocked. It should be noted that every Venerable Realm expert was prideful. Even if there was a difference in strength between them, for the sake of a Venerable's face, the other party wouldn't show such a timid expression. I didn't expect that you would become a Venerable of the Dwarf clan. I thought it would be your brother. Venerable Spirit Phoenix narrowed her eyes. The Venerable in the void raised his hand and slapped Cheetah's face. This slap seemed to have penetrated the Venerable Spirit Phoenix's spatial seal. The right side of Cheetah's face deflated. If there were no accidents, the bones on the right side of Cheetah's face should have been crushed. Apologize to the Venerable One. How did I get a traitorous disciple like you? With that, the dwarf race's Venerable carefully looked at the Venerable Spirit Phoenix below. Venerable One, I really didn't know it was you. Can you do this for my sake? Do you think you are worthy? Venerable Spirit Phoenix coldly interrupted the dwarf Venerable and narrowed her eyes at him. I am not worthy. The dwarf Venerable lowered his head in confusion. Still not revealing your true form? Do you want me to restore it for you? As the Venerable Spirit Phoenix spoke again, the dwarf Venerable in the sky rapidly grew smaller. When he was only about a meter tall, his eyes were filled with mockery and fear as he descended from the sky. He stood a dozen meters away from the Venerable Spirit Phoenix with his hands clasped behind his back. Esteemed Master! Cheetah, who thought that he could be saved, instantly revealed a look of terror when he saw his esteemed master reveal such an expression. You shut up! I don't have a disciple like you! The dwarf Venerable roared angrily, then smiled towards Venerable Spirit Phoenix. Venerable One, since Cheetah angered you, then you can deal with it however you want. I will definitely not interfere, and we dwarves will not go against your decisions in any way. Everyone was shocked. How could a Venerable act so lowly? It was easy to imagine just how strong the sovereign-level expert Yi Zichen brought with him was. Even an overlord couldn't make a Venerable act like this, right? Ba Er's reaction was the most realistic. He couldn't help but gulp as he thought back to what he had said about Venerable Spirit Phoenix. He's just asking to die. What they didn't know was that Yi Zichen was much more shocked than them. He knew that Venerable Spirit Phoenix was very strong, but he didn't expect her to be strong enough for the dwarf Venerable to act like this. What is this? He was just one step away from kneeling on the ground and begging Venerable Spirit Phoenix to let him go. Heh! I thought that you would improve after becoming a Venerable. It seems like that's all there is to it. You might as well let your older brother become a Venerable. Venerable Spirit Phoenix snorted coldly in disdain towards the dwarf Venerable's subservience. However, when the dwarf Venerable heard those words, he didn't dare to show any reluctance. He merely lowered his head silently without saying anything. F***ck off. I'll come and deal with you when I have time. Venerable One, we dwarves! F***ck off, don't make me repeat myself a third time. Hearing that, the dwarf Venerable didn't dare to say anything else. He immediately tore open the space and entered. The eyes of the sealed Chi Pagoda were filled with despair. Son, I already gave you plenty of chances, and even let you find your race's Venerable. But as you can see, your Venerable is disappointing. Venerable Spirit Phoenix looked at him with a smile. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix chuckled as she looked at him. Without waiting for the tower to speak, she said, I'll choose for you. Annihilate. Chapter 2340. As the Venerable Spirit Phoenix muttered, Cheetah instantly disappeared from everyone's sight without a trace, as if he had never appeared in the first place. Everyone in the defensive barrier looked ahead. Is he dead? Steelbar licked his lips as he looked forward. Cheetah disappeared just like that. Not a single trace was left behind. If he was dead, then there was no blood at all. Annihilation. He really was completely annihilated. It's done. There's another one over there. Should we deal with him as well? The Venerable Spirit Phoenix's voice rang out in Yi Zichen's mind. Yi Zichen, who was still in shock, looked up and saw Black Tiger clenching his fist tightly as his body trembled. To be honest, Yi Zichen felt very conflicted. He wanted to deal with Black Tiger as well. That guy was Hegemon Wei's people, and he came here to cause trouble for him. If it wasn't for the Venerable Spirit Phoenix, he might have already attacked them. But now, this guy didn't do anything to anyone, and with Cheetah acting as a foil, Yi Zichen felt like it might not be fair for him to kill him. So troublesome, the venerable spirit phoenix twitched her mouth. She didn't wait for Yi Zichen to come to a conclusion, and hooked her finger towards Black Tiger. Senior. Black Tiger walked over reluctantly. Say it, how do you want to die? The venerable spirit phoenix got straight to the point. Senior, this junior doesn't want to die. Black Tiger forced a smile, then panted heavily. Hey, who forced a smile as he panted heavily. Senior, I'm not with Tower and the others. I didn't hurt anyone from the beginning. How do you want to die? The venerable spirit phoenix ignored Black Tiger's explanation as if she was talking to Cheetah. She merely used a calm tone that could crush someone to death. Senior, this junior really. You don't want to choose, right? Then I'll choose for you. TCH, Senior, this junior has a few things to say to Yi Zichen. Black Tiger suddenly shouted. Hearing that, the venerable spirit phoenix frowned. What did you say to him? Senior, please give this junior a chance to prove myself. The venerable spirit phoenix squinted her eyes and looked behind her. The spirit phoenix squinted her eyes and looked behind her. Even though they were within the barrier, Yi Zichen could still hear everything clearly. He walked out with a frown. What do you want to tell me? Can you please come with me? Black Tiger pleaded. Don't worry, I won't do anything to you. With Senior here, I can't play those little tricks. He subconsciously glanced at the venerable spirit phoenix. Unexpectedly, the venerable one ignored him and looked up at the sky with a, do whatever you want with me, look. He hesitated for a moment. Yi Zichen walked out with a frown. You can tell me now, right? Mr. Yi, actually. Approximately a few minutes later, Yi Zichen walked back with a frown. Let him go. After a long while, Yi Zichen let out a sigh, then looked at the Black Tiger behind him, and said to the Spirit Phoenix, All right. The venerable Spirit Phoenix shrugged and ignored Black Tiger. Seeing this, Black Tiger's eyes were filled with joy. He couldn't help but bow to Yi Zichen in thanks, then hurriedly left. After he left, Yi Zichen's eyebrows never relaxed. Venerable Spirit Phoenix looked at him with a smile that didn't seem like a smile, then muttered to herself. You really are making me more and more interested. Even if it was the Venerable Spirit Phoenix, she wasn't omniscient. At the very least, she didn't know what Black Tiger said to Yi Zichen to make Yi Zichen definitely let him go. When she looked at Yi Zichen's expression, what Black Tiger said to him definitely had something to do with him, and it was something very important, but not a threat. If it was a threat, then Black Tiger's expression shouldn't be this worried. It should be anger, and the result of his anger wouldn't be letting him go. Instead, it would be directly finishing him off. Yi Zichen should know very well, if the current him really had any trouble, he could ask the Venerable Spirit Phoenix for help. Since that's the case, then the possibility of Black Tiger being a threat can be eliminated. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix's heart was filled with curiosity. She wouldn't ask, because she knew that even if she did, Yi Zichen definitely wouldn't tell her the truth. More importantly, she liked the joy of finding out the truth. Senior. Bar and company all ran out from the barrier. Bar bowed respectfully towards the Venerable Spirit Phoenix, then hurried to Yi Zichen's side. Yi, why did you let that person go? Since he's on Tower's side, then he definitely isn't a good person. What bullsh *t, it's all bullsh *t. From what he said just now, he's clearly on Tower's side. You can't have been tricked by him, right? Don't worry about it, Yi Zichen replied absent-mindedly. At that moment, another tear appeared in the sky, and a spaceship shot out of it. The Steele family. Was the Steele family's emblem or name imprinted on the spaceship? Not long later, 3 men and a woman ran out from the spaceship. Bar was stunned, then ran out with joy in his eyes. However, before he even took a few steps, he saw Venerable. The 4 people from the Steele family all bowed towards the Venerable Spirit Phoenix. Their eyes were filled with respect, but there was also a hint of fear hidden within that respect. Bar slowly stopped. The venerable spirit phoenix glanced at them, then waved her hand. Only then did the venerable spirit phoenix feel relieved. All of them let out a long sigh. Even so, they still acted very uneasy, and didn't dare to move at all. Yizichin, is everything done? Let's go back. The venerable spirit phoenix stretched lazily, then slowly walked in front of Yizichin. During that time, the 4 experts of the steel family also followed the venerable spirit phoenix and noticed Yizichin. All right, Yizichin nodded with a heavy heart. The venerable spirit phoenix looked towards Bar, Su-Yun and company, who were not far away. Are we going to bring them back? Bar, are you going back? Yizichin asked. I am, Bar nodded. And bring them along. Bring Su-Yun back as well. All right, the venerable spirit phoenix nodded. The spirit phoenix nodded. Then, Bar and Su-Yun felt their shoulders being grabbed. When they came back to their senses, they were already in outer space. Then, they returned to Yizichin's castle in the span of a single breath. We're back. Bar looked around in shock, then couldn't help but slap his head. That's way too fast. Bai-in is still on Green River Planet. Then let's go back and get her, Yizichin replied listlessly. Yizichin didn't have much energy to answer. He could only walk into his room and think about what Black Tiger had said to him. Chapter 23:41. He silently returned to his room. Yizichin closed the door and locked it from the inside, then punched it heavily. A loud bang resounded throughout the entire castle. Regardless of whether it was the guards outside or Sovereign Spirit Phoenix, who was about to lie on the sofa and watch a universe show, they all looked towards Yizichin's room. Where did that sound come from? Master's room. The slaves outside hurriedly ran in. As soon as they entered, they saw the venerable Spirit Phoenix shaking her head at them with a smile. She then waved her hand, indicating that they didn't need to bother. The slaves all knew the one in front of them. Even though the master was very careful when dealing with them, her actions made the slaves nod gently and retreat from the door. Looks like he was provoked quite badly. Venerable Spirit Phoenix smiled and narrowed her eyes. After a few glances, she retracted her gaze. Then, he saw Su-Yun standing in front of him. Ask away. Without any warning, the venerable Spirit Phoenix slowly sat up straight. I can give you some advice. In a room on the 2nd floor. When he punched, Yizichin sat on the bed and clenched his fists tightly, his eyes filled with sharpness. What is this? Was it insulting or mocking? Furthermore, it was a friendly reminder. The reason why Yizichin let Black Tiger go was very simple. It was a spy left behind by the Master of the Galaxy. Or rather, it was his master, a spy left behind by the Master of the Galaxy, and he was the subordinate of the person in charge of the spy. The Master of the Galaxy had very few spies in the beginning. But as time went by, the spies left by the Galaxy Master would also develop underground. Now, it had evolved into a place that could be infiltrated by the Galaxy Master's subordinate. Black Tiger. This was one of them. Under Hegeman Wei's command, he learned that Hegeman Wei wanted to harm Yizichin. That was why he took the initiative to apply for this mission. After arriving at Blue River Star and leaving the area of influence of the Overlord Wei family, they began to carry out the extermination plan. After everything was over, he would return without anyone noticing. Report that the mission to kill Yizichin has failed. Su-Yun was able to heavily injure Taimo, a 7th-layer champion, because of Black Tiger. Things came to this. Yizichin could accept it, and didn't feel displeased at all. The spy took the initiative to help. Naturally, he would feel happy. He did not doubt the veracity of Black Tiger's words. This was because the matter of the Master of the Galaxy's spies was only known to those who belonged to the Master of the Galaxy. When Black Tiger mentioned this matter, it had already proven his identity. What really annoyed him was, a sentence appeared in his mind. The owner of the Black Tiger transmitted his voice to him. This voice transmission ruthlessly trampled on his dignity to the ground, attacking his hard work as if it was for naught. There were taunts and warnings. Perhaps it was because Yi Zichen wasn't confident that he would have such a thought. But there was one thing he was sure of. Black Tiger's master looked down on the current Yi Zichen, including the future. Yi Zichen didn't even have a chance to respond to the other party's transmission. It was directly cut off by the other party. This was also to tell Yi Zichen he wasn't qualified to talk to him. What a lofty appearance and attitude. Hey, Yi Zichen's eyes flashed coldly as he clenched his fists. To be treated like this. He admitted it. After all, he was just a star-body warrior. How could he have the right to give orders to those mighty figures who were conferred the title of king or duke? He never had any extravagant hopes of doing so. He knew very well that he was still inexperienced and wanted to nurture his own strength. If he could use the Master of the Galaxy's spy, then he would. If he couldn't, then he would treat him as an ally. That guy yet, he spoke to Yi Zichen in an incomparably arrogant and preachy tone. He truly angered Yi Zichen. Isn't it just a spy? Laozi doesn't need it. You're high and mighty, but in the end you're just a pawn. Yi Zichen clenched his fists so hard that his knuckles turned white. At that very moment, Yi Zi, can I come in? A knock sounded out from outside. Yi Zichen hurriedly focused. He walked to the door and opened it, only to see Su Yun standing outside with a strange expression. What is it? I came to say goodbye. Su Yun got straight to the point. He glanced at the room, which had been messed up by Yi Zichen's punch, and a hint of determination flashed across his eyes. I'm going to leave Blue River Planet. Leave? Yi Zichen frowned. He hurriedly grabbed Su Yun's shoulders and looked him in the eye. Why are you suddenly leaving? Isn't Blue River Planet good? What's wrong with it? Don't act recklessly. You're only at the domain level. Blue River Planet is already a rather suitable planet for you. What's more, I'm here, so your safety. It's because you're here. Su Yun instantly roared at Yi Zichen. His roar caused Yi Zichen's body to freeze. Then, Su Yun shook his head and took 2 steps back. I'm sorry. No, nothing. Why are you suddenly leaving? You have to give me a reason if you want to leave, right? Are you going back? No, I want to go out and take a look. By the time he finished speaking, Su Yun was already at the door. This place isn't suitable for me. I need to find my own path. I can't always be protected by you. Don't worry, I definitely won't act recklessly. The money you gave me is enough for me to travel for a long time. I've also picked a few guards to go with me. You're leaving now? Yes. Without saying anything, Su Yun directly walked out of the room. Outside were guards who had been waiting for a long time. He had to leave. He didn't want to cause any more trouble for Yi Zichen. He clearly came here to lighten Yi Zichen's burden, but from the looks of it, he was a burden. He had to be someone who carried Yi Zichen's burden. He had to be someone who shared Yi Zichen's burden. Not a burden. Just you wait, Yi. When I return, I will definitely, I will be someone who stands by your side. Let's go. Su Yun waved towards everyone, then walked out of the castle. Yi Zichen silently walked out of the room and sighed as he watched Su Yun leave. How could he not know what Su Yun was thinking? He asked me some questions just now, and I gave him some advice. The Spirit Phoenix on the sofa spoke up. Venerable Spirit Phoenix, who was sitting on the sofa, said, Your friend is a strong-willed person. I think highly of him. He will succeed. Yi Zichen's eyes were filled with confidence and trust. Then what about you? Me? Yi Zichen smiled and looked at the second universe of the virtual network. Of course I found my own path. Chapter 2342. Within a garden, Yi Zichen sat cross-legged on the ground, while a whirlpool formed above his head. The whirlpool absorbed the energy of the universe around him. It surged towards Yi Zichen's Tianling acupoint like a tide. Break! Yi Zichen, who was sitting on the ground, suddenly raised his hands into the air with a thunderous roar. Then, a surging aura was released from his body, causing all the flowers and plants in the garden to collapse, while many of them were uprooted. City Lord, congratulations on breaking through to the star level. Han Qing, who was standing nearby, smiled. He walked in front of Yi Zichen with a towel in his hand. The moment Yi Zichen opened his eyes, he handed the towel over. You're here. Yi Zichen looked up and smiled at Han Qing, then grabbed the towel to wipe the sweat off his body and clenched his fist. In the first universe, he was already at the star level. Thus, breaking through to the star level in the second universe wasn't anything new to him. After stretching his body a bit, he put on the hollow body suit once again. City Lord, you truly are a genius. You broke through from level 6 domain to level 1 star level in just 2 months. This efficiency is truly shocking, Han Qing sighed. Yi Zichen tilted his head and glanced at him. When did you learn how to flatter people? I'm telling you, I definitely won't fall for it. Ha ha ha. Han Qing laughed. City Lord, what are you saying? This subordinate is speaking from the bottom of my heart. I wouldn't dare to lie. That disciple of mine still hasn't broken through. I would be satisfied if he had half of your talent. Actually, even if Han Qing didn't say it, Yi Zichen knew very well that his breakthroughs were already very fast. In just 2 short months, it was very rare for someone to break through the star level from level 6 domain to reach the star level in both the first and second universes. Even so, Yi Zichen didn't feel satisfied at all. No matter how fast he broke through, he was still a stellar level at the end of the day. Looking at the entire universe, he was still a drop in the ocean among all living beings. Of course, in the second universe, his star level wasn't bad. At least, it was a rather high level for now. The second universe. That was the path Yi Zichen had chosen. He no longer had extravagant hopes of standing out in the first universe. In a world that had already been formatted and everything in the universe had already been set in stone, it was difficult to imagine how difficult it would be to rise from an ant step by step to the top. Of course, if you are willing to work hard, you can definitely achieve great things in the first universe. But since he had such determination, why didn't he place it in the second universe? In a whole new world, everyone's starting point was the same. If you put everything you have into this place, your achievements could be 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times greater than the first universe. Furthermore, Universe 2 was no longer a virtual game. In the future, the Virtual World Corporation would merge them. When that happened, everything Yi Zichen had in the second universe would appear in the first universe. This was his choice. It was also the most correct choice he had made. Over the past 2 months, he had been fighting for this choice. Finally, he had broken through to the star realm after 2 months. Not counting the natives of the second universe, Yi Zichen was certain that he was the first human to break through to the star level in the first universe. Alright, stop flattering me. Yi Zichen smiled towards Han Qing, then extended his arms and walked out of the garden, while Han Qing followed behind him. 2 months' time, Yi Zichen's city expanded once more. The population of the city had already exceeded 5 million, and the entire city was progressing towards prosperity. On the streets of the city, patrolling guards could be seen everywhere. These guards all wore armor made from hollow ore, and the weapons in their hands were all dark gold and purple tier. In the surrounding villages, no one could shake Yi Zichen's position in the city. These are all my assets after the future universe fuses. Yi Zichen looked at the city and smiled, then clenched his fists. He would never, ever forget Master Black Tiger's words for the rest of his life. There are no spies from the Master of the Galaxy. I can mix well too. Speaking of which, Yi Zichen had to thank the person he'd never met. If it weren't for him, Yi Zichen wouldn't have come here with such resolve. Just like Su Yun, Yi Zichen had had enough of being looked down upon by the weak. He didn't want to live in anyone's shadow anymore. He wanted to become a person who stood at the peak of the world. Perhaps it was too early to say that, but he would definitely come. The city in front of him was his first step towards this world. Oh yeah, you just told me that Xian Zhengnan hasn't broken through yet? Nope, Han Qing sighed. He's actually pretty hard-working, but his talent might be a bit lacking. He's only at the 9th level of the domain realm. Haha, if I remember correctly, you said that he's very talented when we first met, Yi Zichen smiled. That's because I didn't meet you, City Lord. Han Qing flattered him silently. Han Qing quietly flattered him again. Anyway, that little bastard said that he had touched the threshold a few days ago. Until now, I don't even know if he has crossed the threshold. You didn't go and take a look? I didn't have the time, Han Qing replied. Han Qing asked. There's been a lot of things happening in the city recently, so I don't have the energy to take care of him. Anyways, I didn't hide anything from him. It's up to him where he ends up. The master leads the way, cultivation depends on the individual. Yes, City Lord is right, Han Qing nodded with a smile. Han Qing nodded with a smile. Yi Zichen continued to patrol the city. When the surrounding guards saw him, they would greet him. After about an hour, he tilted his head and looked at Han Qing. Do you have something to tell me? It was just as Han Qing had said, the city was very busy. Normally, the people in charge of the city were nowhere to be seen. Yet, Han Qing actually followed Yi Zichen around the city for more than an hour. Yi Zichen couldn't help but feel a bit confused. And nothing. Han Qing stuttered. Han Qing stammered, which caused Yi Zichen to instantly frown and stop. What's going on? Just say it, don't hide it. Really? Nothing? Han Qing smiled. I just came to ask when you're going back to your place. My place. The place you came to us from. What's going on? Yi Zichen's expression completely darkened. He squinted his eyes at Han Qing. Hurry up and say it. What happened? Is there something wrong with the city? If you don't say it, then I definitely won't let you off so easily. Heya! Han Qing let out a long sigh and muttered, I told you not to make me come. As soon as he finished speaking, he lowered his head and spoke. Qing Hui is injured and it's pretty serious. He's currently receiving treatment in our city's treatment room. Chapter 2343. Ever since the Qing clan was exterminated, Qing Hui and Qing Yu stayed behind in Yi Zichen City. Qing Hui was now a general and Jinjuki's assistant. He commanded the city's soldiers, ensured the city's safety, and coordinated the deployment of troops. Not long ago, Qing Hui broke through to the star rank. He was one of the top experts in the surrounding villages. He was able to break through thanks to Mu Yi's sword. After he recovered, he felt that his strength had increased. He thought that he would be satisfied if he could break through to the 9th level. Unexpectedly, he broke through to the star level in one go. Han Qing and the others even held a special celebration for his breakthrough. At the time, Yi Zichen had been busy raising his strength, so he hadn't gone. However, he'd heard about it. How did Uncle Qing get hurt? Isn't he already in the star state? Yi Zichen frowned, then let out a deep sigh when he saw Han Qing's expression. Forget it, bring me there. Don't hide such things from me in the future. The two hurried to the infirmary. When they arrived, Chikano was also there, standing outside the infirmary door. City Lord. Yi Zichen nodded, then walked to the door. In the room, the city's doctors were in the middle of treating him. Yi Zichen looked in from the outside, then his expression grew unsightly. How did you get hurt so badly? At this moment, Qing Hui had completely lost consciousness. His shirt had been taken off and placed in the corner of the room. From his clothes, it could be seen that he had lost a lot of blood. By the time Yi Zichen saw it, Qing Hui's upper body had already been cleaned with water. The ground was covered in blood. His chest was burnt black, and there was a sword wound on his abdomen. Who did it? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes at Chikano and Han Qing. He could tell from their expressions that they knew. To be able to injure Qing He to such an extent. More importantly, Qing Hui had hollow oars as well. Speak! Yi Zichen roared angrily with a frown when he saw that Chicano and Han Qing still hadn't reigned. City Lord, we don't know either. After hesitating for a while, Han Qing gritted his teeth and said, when this subordinate found him, he was already unconscious and heavily injured. Where did you find it? The Vicious Beast area 15 miles outside the city. The Ferocious Beast area was the Ferocious Beast area. The natives often called it the Ferocious Beast area. 15 li outside the city. If Yi Zichen remembered correctly, that should be where the grizzly bears were active. His strength was only at the 3rd level of the domain realm. With the strength of Green Obscurity's star level, not to mention being injured to this extent, it was already very good that those grizzly bears were not exterminated. Furthermore, even if it was a grizzly bear, the fierce beast should have attacked with its sharp claws. Qing Hui's charred chest and the sword wound on her abdomen were obviously man-made. You're still hiding it from me. Yi Zichen frowned, then shifted his gaze between Chicano and Han Qing. He was sure that things weren't that simple. This subordinate also found a letter by Qing Hui's side. At that moment, Han Qing took out an envelope that was completely dyed red with blood and placed it in Yi Zichen's hands. Yi Zichen reached out and received the letter. Activate. In less than half a minute. F***CK. Yi Zichen tightly gripped the letter in his hand. Seeing Yi Zichen's expression, Han Qing and Chicano quickly followed suit. City Lord, please calm down. We don't want you to, I don't blame you. Yi Zichen shook his head towards Han Qing and company, then couldn't help but clench his fist as he read the contents of the letter. This letter was written to him by the Fire Elemental Commander. Little friend Yi. Seeing the words, I feel like I am. Long time no see, I wonder how little friend is doing? I can tell that little friend misses this sovereign a lot, and even sent people to investigate this sovereign's information. This sovereign saw your subordinate, and also sent people to take good care of him. This can be considered a return gift to little friend Yi for the great gift you gave this sovereign last time. Thanks to little friend Yi, I was able to truly experience what it means to live. If I have time, this sovereign will definitely pay you a visit. I wish you luck in martial arts. Fire Xie. He's actually still alive. Yi Zichen let out a deep sigh, then put the letter away, while his eyes were filled with resentment. The situation back then was just too bad. If the reinforcements had come an hour earlier, and if Yi Zichen hadn't fainted from forcefully activating the heaven-sweeping sword, he would have definitely gotten rid of the Fire Elemental Commander. Then, he wouldn't have been able to escape and continue to wreak havoc in the world. 2 months ago, Su Hu was still discussing with Yi Zichen how to deal with the Fire Elemental Commander. At that time, Su Hu had no choice but to rely on livestock to survive. When Yi Zichen saw this letter, he might have already found a new host, and it was a body that was very compatible with fire. Signed, Fire Xie. It seems like this is the name of the Fire Elemental Commander. He's going to pay me a visit. Is this a threat? I really didn't expect him to finally find a good host after being beaten up like a stray dog for several months, and feel like he's fine again. What is he trying to say? Is he bringing people to attack the city? Yi Zichen wasn't being arrogant. His city wouldn't even be able to enter without several tens of universe-level experts. Why did Uncle Qing run into him? Yi Zichen frowned. Su Hu's people had always been in charge of investigating the Fire Elemental Commander's position. At that moment, Su Hu hadn't told him anything about the Fire Elemental Commander. Actually, Qing Hui has been investigating the Fire Elemental Commander's whereabouts recently, Chicano said. He still hasn't forgotten about his clan's extermination and will investigate whenever he has the time. I tried to persuade him, but it's not so easy to let go of the hatred of his clan's extermination. 3 days ago, Qing Hui left the city, and hasn't returned since then. This subordinate was worried, so I sent people to look for him, but Han Qing found him. I understand, Chikano nodded. Yi Zichen looked deeply at Qing Hui, who was in the room. You must save Uncle Qing, no matter what price you have to pay. Understood, Chikano nodded. Qing Hui must be healed. Regardless of his contributions to the city, or Hua Xie's declaration of war, only when Qing Hui wakes up will he know about Hua Xie's exact situation. Qingyu doesn't know yet, right? Yi Zichen asked Han Qing and company after a moment of silence. She doesn't know. Should we tell her? Let's keep it a secret. Yi Zichen thought about Qingyu. If she finds out that Qing Hui was injured like this, who knows how devastated she would be. It's best not to let her know about this, that way she won't have to worry. I still stand by what I said. I must do everything I can to see Uncle Qing wake up. With that, Yi Zichen let out a deep sigh. I'll leave this place to you guys. Don't worry, City Lord. Yi Zichen nodded towards Chikano and Han Qing, then left the hallway with a frown. The first thing he did when he walked out was open his friend list. Su Hu. Do you have time? Come to my city. Chapter 2344. Holder of Chaos City. Yi Zichen. There was no longer anything to hide for the surrounding villages. Su Hu understood this very well. Yi Zichen sat in the guest room of the city lord's manor and silently waited for Su Hu's arrival. Approximately 4 hours later, the village head, Su Hu, entered the room. Future brother. Sit. Yi Zichen pointed at the seat in front of him. Su Hu subconsciously glanced at Yi Zichen. For some reason, even though Yi Zichen didn't say anything, he had a bad feeling. Yi Zichen silently sat down. Since Yi Zichen didn't say anything, Su Hu didn't dare to ask. The atmosphere in the guest room dropped. The deathly silence caused Su Hu to be unable to breathe. Future brother? I wonder if future brother has come to find me. I want to know your village's progress in finding the fire monster. Yi Zichen looked up into Su Hu's eyes. After Su Hu spoke, Yi Zichen looked up into Su Hu's eyes. Your village has been in charge of this matter. It has already been more than 2 months. How is your search going? Su Hu didn't know how to reply. At the beginning, he did use a lot of power to search for the fire elemental commander. The main reason was because he felt uneasy. The existence of the fire elemental commander made him afraid that his village would be taken away again. He had to put an end to this. After searching for a month without any results or any progress, he started to gradually lose interest in the existence of the fire elemental commander. More importantly, that month, even until now, there were no traces of the fire elemental commander around his village. Thus, he didn't search anymore. Future brother, to be honest, I already gave up on searching for him a month ago. Su Hu hesitated for a moment, then told Yi Zichen the truth. I guessed it. Yi Zichen wasn't surprised by Su Hu's answer. He nodded and took a sip of tea. This tea was unique to the second universe. At least, Yi Zichen had never seen it in the first universe. You didn't get any results after so long. If you keep searching, then I'm starting to doubt your efficiency. Yi Zichen put down the teacup and nodded. Why did you give up halfway? I suspect that he's already dead? Su Hu crossed his hands and placed them on the table with a rather nervous expression. He didn't know why he was acting like this. In terms of age, he was clearly much older than Yi Zichen. What's more, he was the village head of a village, so he could treat everyone with confidence. Unfortunately, in front of Yi Zichen, he felt as if he were sitting on pins and needles. Could it be that she was afraid of the power behind Yi Zichen? Chaos City had been developing very quickly in the past few months, and it had almost become the leader of the city. Even so, as the village chief, he shouldn't be acting like this. I'm not his subordinate. His village did not become a vassal either. He's dead. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled. Why would you think that? It's like this, Hearing that, Su Hu told Yi Zichen the results of his investigation for the past month in full detail without hiding anything. After everything had been explained clearly, only then did he look up into Yi Zichen's eyes. That's why I think he's dead. If you don't find him, then he's dead. Do you know that if he's alive, you want to see him? If he's dead, you want to see his corpse? Yi Zichen's voice was low. Let's not talk about that. Since you think he's dead, why didn't you tell me? If I didn't come looking for you, would you have never told me? About that, Su Hu was speechless. In truth, he hadn't said anything because he didn't think there was a need. As long as the village didn't find him, Yi Zichen's people wouldn't go and kill him. In that case, it wouldn't make much of a difference whether he told them or not. What's more, there were many matters in the village that required him, the village chief, to personally attend to. Thus, he forgot about it. Why did you lie to me? Yi Zichen suddenly asked. The instant he heard this question, Su Hu shot up from his chair. Brother Future, what are you saying? When did I lie to you? You didn't say anything about my guess about the fire monster's death. I just forgot about it. That's not really lying. You know that's not what I'm talking about, said Yi Zichen. I don't know what you're talking about. Su Hu frowned. I have a clear conscience, Brother Future. All right. Yi Zichen nodded solemnly. Since you have a clear conscience, then I'll ask you properly. Why did you tell me that your village doesn't have any star-level experts? Don't forget I'm here. How could I not know whether your village has any or not? Also, why did you tell me that the fire monster clearly had 4 guards, but you said there were only 3? My subordinates clearly told me that he has 4 star-level subordinate. Star-level? Suddenly, Su Hu's eyebrows sank. Brother Future, the subordinates I'm talking about are not star-level. Not star-level. Yi Zichen was stunned. Yeah, I don't know what level they are, but they are definitely stronger than star-level, Su Hu frowned. Our village doesn't have any star-level experts, and I can guarantee that I'm not lying. That's because those star-level experts are all dead. What happened? Yi Zichen sensed that something was wrong and frowned. He frowned and said, When the fire monster was still in my village, I asked a few seniors to assassinate him. I was nearby at that time. When a few Star Realm seniors from our village tried to assassinate him, 3 guards appeared beside him and killed the Star Realm seniors with 1 strike. Su Hu's expression showed a hint of pain, perhaps regret. If it wasn't for his request, the 3 seniors wouldn't have died. Killed a star level in 1 strike? How many levels were they in? One of them was already at the 5th level. If that's the case, then the one who killed them had to be at least a star level or above. Why didn't you say so earlier? I thought Brother Future knew everything, Su Hu said. Brother Future, please believe me. I've never lied to you. If I've lied to you, then I'll never be able to improve my cultivation again. Su Hu's expression was sincere. Yi Zichen could tell from Su Hu's gaze that he had indeed misunderstood him. But if what he said was true, and the fire elemental commander had star-level guards, then why didn't he send those people to capture me? By say, or Qingyu, Brother Future, you came to find me for this? Su Hu asked. Sort of, Yi Zichen nodded. Actually, I have some bad news for you. What news? The fire monster is still alive, Yi Zichen said. Not only is it alive, it even injured Qing Hui. It sent me a letter, signed by Huaxie.